we go. I have 4 viewers waiting. That's nuts. Hello. Let me get the chat up. I feel like every live stream is the exact same song and dance of like, okay, let's see here. All right, so what we're doing today is, you may have noticed, long time viewers who pay way too much attention to my channel. Not that there is such a thing. Sorry, Professor DM, who I had in queue. So usually I'm very good about responding to my comments, like almost immediately as I get them. But today I was like, you know what? I should be toxic, and I should wait. And instead of just responding to them like a normal person, stream me responding to them, open it up to the peanut gallery, that's you lot, and, you know, have some discussions. I probably won't be a dick because, I mean, I was looking at comments as they came in, because most people weren't being assholes, which is shocking. But yeah, it should be a good time. I'm just going to do something really stupid real quick and just make sure that I am actually live. Because my YouTube thingamajig is being weird. I love a noon coffee. I could just drink coffee all day, every day of my life. Not because of like the caffeine. In fact, that's what stops me oftentimes. Oh, sorry, I'm pulling up my own stream. Okay, no feedback loop. Cool, I'm live. Oh, hello, Ronald. Working on a legal brief, arguing with strangers myself right now, so this is on theme. Fantastic. But I just like the taste. Anyway, so now that I know that I'm live, let's go to... Oh, I should probably close out a Maple Story. I was playing Maple Story before I started streaming. So I'm just going to close out of this. Maybe I'll come back to it. Did you see that? I leveled up. Isn't that cool? And then... Fuck off, Nexon. All right, here is the channel dash with all of the lovely behind-the-scenes information that you didn't want to know. So, let's start. Is this toxic? I feel like this might be a little toxic, but that's okay. Thanks, mate. Good video. Keen to see more as the development goes on. Pfft, easy. Thanks for watching. I appreciate you. We're just starting off on a positive note. All right. Oh wait, this is done by top comments, so it's only gonna show me what I want to see. Now we gotta. YouTube has, to be fair, I haven't been the most active person on the face of the planet, but it did this weird thing where instead of sorting by newest, it does like most relevant or something, which is gassing me up. But whatever, it's fine. All right. Scenes by Omnic says Grimwild ... Now, if I remember correctly, Toxic King, that's me. If I remember correctly, I feel like they edited their comment, because I saw another comment that said, I feel like Grimwild is sort of the true sequel to what Dungeon World wants to do with regards to sort of being the branch between like D&D and I don't like calling them narrative games because all games technically have a narrative. Every game has a story. Should I pop some popcorn? Yes, you should. The AI suggestions are usually stupid. I ignore them. Yeah, I don't know where you're seeing AI suggestions, but I agree. A lot of times they are dumb. Anyway, and so the argument is that Grimwild is sort of the true successor. One of the reasons why it took me like 3 months to make another video is because I wanted to do a Grimwild video, because so many people in my Fantasy Heartbreakers video, even before that, were like, can you do Grimwild? And it had come up on my radar even before that, and I was really interested in the system and the ideas behind it. But, like, it took me, like, a month to get through it. And, like, there was just a blockage there. And I'm trying to understand what caused it. I think a big thing for me, one of my big takeaways is it is crunchy. which may be shocking because it's like, is this supposed to be a narrative story game? I'm clipping. But I think it is. I like I said, I don't like using the term narrative versus crunchy, especially after reading Grimwild. I feel like it's more like Englishy games versus mathy games, where the story unfolds based on like literary storytelling principles versus like mathematics. Um, yeah. And it was after reading a comment that someone's like, I play Pathfinder and stories come out in that game. And I'm like, you're so right. Anyways, so like I feel like Grimwild has way too much, for lack of a better term, narrative crunch, where like with mathematical crunch, like in Pathfinder, you can just look it up. It doesn't really interrupt the flow of the game, but I feel like so much of Grimwild's rules are integral to how the story of the game is supposed to unfold that it would just slow me up. There's definitely some really cool ideas in Grimwild that I really liked and resonated with, and I tried to write the script so many times, but it was just I just couldn't. Yeah. Ultimately, I just feel like there's two. I don't know. It's pretty different. What am I gonna say to them? I'll just tell the truth. How does it compare to Mythcrafter? I've not played. You haven't played Dungeon World, really? That's crazy. I've never played Mythcrafter, so couldn't tell you. Grimwild had been on my radar for ages, and when it finally came out, I just couldn't get into it. I wanted to like it really badly, but there was something there that just didn't resonate with me. I feel like it's narrative crunch, and many of the systems would get in my GMing way. And that's something that I learned with Fellowship, where Fellowship has so many things that like mandates the GM do, that I feel like it just kind of like fucked over my like DMing, and it was too clunky, and I didn't enjoy running it. All they did was change the stat names and hit points. That's why everyone is complaining. You people are babies. I mean, they... Oh, what to say to this person? Oh, man. First kind of shitty comment of the day. I'm gonna think on that. Also, publicly subscribe to me for a month. That's tight. I'm gonna shit on you in a minute. I just need to think of something. This sounds like a different system, not a new version of Dungeon World. Couldn't agree more. Alas, we won't really be able to tell until the alpha drops. Yeah, hard agree. I mean, my video basically says that it's not. It doesn't feel like Dungeon World. It doesn't feel like that crossover based on what we've gotten. Some of the new articles that have been released, I do like some of the stuff that they're doing, and I'll probably make a video on it, maybe. If I turn my channel into just Dungeon World updates, I mean, they post something new like every Tuesday and Thursday, so it's kind of tough to catch up with that. But I'm still like... All they did was change the stat names and hit points. That's why everyone's complaining. You people are babies. I need to think of something witty. I'm being really vulnerable here, just revealing that. Because it's like, they didn't just change the stat names and hit points. Those are two very simple things. Aha! Those are two seemingly simple things that actually have a profound impact on the way the game plays. I'll just hit him with a shrug. And it won't be a dick. It's DW Light. I don't know about DW Light, because it honestly seems like more crunchy in certain ways. I think HP is counterintuitive to narrative gameplay and should get traded out for a wound system or something like this. We need to get away from focusing on numbers so much. What's the difference between HP and a wound system? I sort of touched on this in the video when I talk about like masks. Masks has conditions, and honestly, hit points are nothing. Pfft, what are you smoking? That so Ronald, let me tell you something about the Powered by the Apocalypse crowd, man. Oh, they don't like hit points. And as I say in the video, this has been a contentious issue for ages. And Helena makes a really good point when she says that ultimately hit points are, it's almost binary. It's like they don't matter until they do, and they do, and it's zero, kind of. Which I might be like butchering her phrasing of it, but like someone else actually commented it somewhere in here, and I'll probably reply to it in a bit, that hit points are sort of a countdown timer to like build tension, which I'm a big fan of. Dungeon World doesn't use AC. Yeah, it's like a countdown timer, and I like that idea of looking at it. Anyways, back to this comment. What's the difference between HP and a wound system? Masks has conditions, and honestly, they're kind of just glorified hit points. Like, in all my experiences playing Masks, yes, you have the condition. My players, like, never fucking roleplay the condition. Oh, actually, that's not true. In my most recent Mask campaign, which was like 2 years ago, they actually did roleplay the conditions. They did a great job. If you're watching this, Caslamaniac, literally his conditions changed the entire direction of his character. Oh, yeah. The comments are called people babies for caring about hit points when they're a huge deal. Yes, they are. Like, that's so integral to how the game works. Yeah, it's kind of stupid, but whatever. Commenters be... Yeah, Ronald, you know comment. No, I saw that. Commenters be commenters, dude. You know how it is. I like the concept of stat debuffs when taking wounds. Don't get me wrong. Which is why I proposed a weird tiered compromise system. All right. Designers learning new things? Cool, actually. I'm just going to give that a heart. Sounds legit, but resistance sounds like a gumshoe mechanic. I agree so much. To quote another commenter, replacing one meta currency HP with another one that makes less sense is a bad idea. Yeah, I really don't like that whole resistance thing at all. I think it's so, like, it's so fucking dumb. And it's just like, okay, cool, I have 3 resistances. I can just negate whatever. And then, you know, you run out of it, and then, oh, I guess I have to roll. I don't know, it just seems stupid. I'd rather prefer the randomness of the saving throw. It's more similar to what most people coming from D&D are familiar with. I like the uncertainty. I think that's just the way to go. I think getting rid of it for the whole resistance thing is stupid. And then when you run out of resistances, then you're at the mercy of the DM, which it just doesn't. And Spencer said in the thing, like, he had watched the video. Him and Helena had watched the video, you know, he said that they have made changes since publishing some of the blog posts, but they're not going to make, like, extravagant changes until the alpha comes out, which is probably the right move, but fuck resistances. I'm not a game designer, but here's my game design idea. I mean, everyone who cares about this hobby has opinions on design, and there's nothing inherently wrong with the idea you just gave about health tiers. I just say be more willing to own your idea instead of saying, I'm not a game designer. But if you were out here critiquing others' design work, in a helpful way, mind you, then your own ideas have to be open to criticism yourself. Good video otherwise. Totally. I just added that sentence beforehand. So, I mean, I totally get what they're saying. And I'm open to my idea being open to critique. I guess I'm just letting people know that I don't think about design all day, which would explain why it's trash. If people think it's trash. All right. I just hope the horribly rambly blog post style of writing isn't used in the actual game. I really want to be a douche and just be like, read the medium as the message, because, like, come on, dude. That's fucking ridiculous. I have a strange feeling they know the medium affects the way they communicate. This is why, like, people, especially when I was in college and people, so I was a journalism major, which is under communications, and when I was definitely in my comm studies class, like, a lot of my, like, acquaintances would just, like, roast me. They're like, oh, who the fuck like, people roast communication degrees. This is why you need a fucking communications degree, dude. Like, obviously they're not gonna write the fucking rule book. Oh, live was a good video, was particularly nice that you ended on a positive. Thanks, man. I mean, I try to not be shitty in it. Like, that's, as I approach the ripe old age of 30, I try to be more positive and less shitty. And it's one of those things where it's like, I didn't want to totally drag them through the mud, especially like some people have been, and we may get to it in all these comments because there's a shitload, like, cynical and be like, ugh, it's a cash grab. But, like, dude, it's indie RPGs, bro. Nobody's getting into this for, like, the money. Like, they're clearly just a couple of very passionate people who want to do the best job they can and put their ideas of what makes an RPG good onto this product. And, like, that's it. Like, I highly doubt, like, people are like, they just want to use the Dungeon World name to sell copies, which, like, okay, they probably just want to use the Dungeon World name to sell copies, but it's not like this is this nefarious, like, Jeff Bezos level scheme. They're just two passionate people just trying to, doing the best they can. Anyway, they know the medium affects the way they communicate. I really want to be a dickhead. Take a communications class. Oh, I'm not going to add that. That's just for you live viewers and anyone who watches the VOD. Maybe I'll clip it and put it on the BroBits channel. I have a second channel that I sometimes upload clips to. Okay. Blog posts 10. Yeah, fuck it. I'm going to give this guy a comm lesson. To have different writing I like HP as a resource to make the game tenser. For sure. It's a countdown timer to, like, Doom. Blog posts tend to have different writing styles than rule books, than news articles, than fictional stories, than non-fiction books. Douche. Bro, it wasn't Rush Limbaugh or normie gamers who had a problem with half-elves. It was Hasbro. They thought mixed-race people were problematic or something. It was current year progressive politics that killed the half-elf. Fuck. I probably shouldn't say this, but if there is a hell, Rush Limbaugh is burning in it. You know what? I'm not going to do it. Nope. I'm just going to hide him from the channel because I don't want to see that shit. I think Spencer and Helena are probably going to produce an interesting... Also, some people don't get the brain itch that HP causes to some other people. So, I think HP is one of those things that there will never be a satisfactory resolution to. I think it's important to say, and I want to say someone pointed this out on the Discord, that, like, even in Dungeon World, like, HP does have narrative prompts to, like, how much you lose. And if you just take it at face value of, like, oh, you lose 3 HP, like... It's a little bit unfair to put that on the GM, I guess, but, like, I do it naturally anyway. Like, if I'm, playing Dungeon World or whatever, and one of my players loses a shitload of HP, like, I narrate, like, what happens. Like, oh, your arm fucking broke because you lost 8 HP and you have 13 or whatever. I think it's just something that needs to be taught to GMs to just kind of think of that way, and I feel like most, like, when they get experience, sort of start thinking in that way. Anyways, I think Spencer and Helena are probably going to produce an interesting, innovative fantasy RPG. Oh, I didn't start recording, but whatever. Can HP somehow be an optional... I keep reading your comments. Can HP somehow be an optional rule? It might complicate things, but that might help the bridging. I think, based on Helena's interview that she did with Rascal News, I think that's kind of the way that they're going to go. I do kind of like what they're doing right now. I mean, like with conditions. And I think they should keep having conditions. Like I said, I think tiered conditions is a really good idea, which is really funny because in the Discord server, on the Dungeon World Discord server, someone was like, yeah, Tabletop Pro is just like making up an example. He doesn't actually think it's a good idea. And I'm like, I think it's a good idea. But, you know, ultimately, we'll see what they do when the alpha comes out. Ronald, will you play the alpha with me? Anyways, okay. I'm going to get through this comment before reading more chat messages. I think Spencer and Helena are probably going to produce an interesting, innovative fantasy RPG, but it's not going to be Dungeon World. Hard agree. The problem is that they were hired to create Dungeon World 2, not shiny new PBTA fantasy game. Hard agree. If you were to create Doom 2, nobody is going to care if you create the most awesome racing game ever because people are coming for Doom 2, not a racing game. Hard agree. I think the game is going to struggle to find its audience because of the disconnect between the name and the legacy of OGDW and the new game, which appears to bear very little resemblance to the original. I really don't care about how good of a PBTA game it is. I just care the game is fun and easy to run. Hard agree. That's why I don't like Grimwild, because it doesn't seem... I haven't ran it, but it doesn't seem easy to run. I kind of like the sloppy middle ground between traditional RPGs and PBTA that DW occupies. I think in a few years, you're going to see a lot more OGDW being ran than DW2 at conventions and in local gaming groups. Is DW even run at conventions and local gaming groups? I don't know, but what do I know? Nothing. I'm stupid. Personally, I suspect I will stick with OGDW and maybe carve off little bits and pieces from DW2 that appeal to my tastes, same as I do for my own current games, which are basically DWs with bits and bobs cribbed from other games or hacks. Hard agree. The one thing I loved about OGDW is the game is just simple enough to just get if you've played traditional RPGs and read up a little bit on the PBTA philosophy. It is a nice mid-ground, warts and all, and it is super easy to hack to be what it wants to be. Fortunately, OGDW is Creative Commons, so we can use, hack, create, and publish new material without any kind of hassle. Hard agree on all counts. You win the comments section. I'm gonna fucking pin that too, because great comment. I agree on all accounts, which is why it's a great comment. I don't know where the pin button is. Okay. Yes, you've wanted to play Passion de... I'll play Passion de la Pasiones with you, dude. Just send... We'll schedule it. We'll make it happen. How the fuck do I pin? Let me pin. Whatever. It's fine. I think I actually have to go to the video to do that. That's so embarrassing. All right. But problem is D&D toyed with tiered damage on and off over the last 50 years, and the accounting just became a pain in the backside. It's always worth a try, though. Yeah, that probably makes sense. I'll take your word for it. I personally don't know, but I'll take your word for it. God bless anyone who tries to run DW in a game shot for 4+ strangers. LOL, PBTA just isn't meant to do that in my opinion. I kind of see... I've played DW with strangers in my Discord server, but they all kind of knew what was up. Hello, Andrew. Pleasure seeing you here. Yeah, I think I kind of want to do it now. I kind of want to put up a flyer in my friendly local game store and try to run D-dubs. Anyway, this sounds like a massive misstep for DW2. Why does this stuff keep happening in design spaces? It's exhausting. Touch grass. I'm just kidding. That's mean. They don't deserve that. I'm gonna give them a little heart. I'm just gonna heart it. I don't really have anything to add to the conversation to that. I'm not like shitting on them or anything. You know, despite my roast was in, you know, good faith or whatever. Never take my word for anything. I'm an idiot. Never take my word for anything. I'm an idiot. All right. Bunch of emojis. I come to you for all my Dungeon World 2 updates. Well, I've only made 2, so... do you use any house rules in DW that you think could help DW2? I'm on a quest to collect every house rule on YouTube and beyond. I'd love to hear about any that you use at your table. Well, thanks. I've only made 2 updates thus far, but I'm glad you're along for the ride. Maybe I'll have to make... We're all idiots together. Maybe I'll have to make a house rules / how I run my games video ? for every game, and I've run campaigns with both Grim Worlds, not Wilds, emoji. Where's the emoji I'm thinking of? There's an emoji. God, imagine tuning into the live stream at this point when I'm just looking for an emoji. Okay, I found it. Playbooks and class warfare. Perfect. Steal stuff from masks. People react to this like it's a video game update that'll kill the OG. That's a great comment, because I'm one of those people who reacted like it'll kill the OG. Obviously the OG will still be there. It's not like the OG is very much alive anyway. Like what Jacob said, God bless anyone who tries to run DW to Game Shop. Because it's just not, I mean, that's the thing that I think is so important to, that I think a lot of people in the indie RPG space kind of forget, is that, like, they're so small anyway. Like, if, like, I live in San Diego, so if I, like, honestly, in all of Southern California, if I reached out to everyone in Southern California and I was like, hey, who plays Dungeon World? Maybe, like, I'm pulling this number out of my ass, but I would guess maybe 20. I could find 20 people, maybe. Anyway. Axel S., public subscriber. He's got 145 subs. What you got? You make stuff? Oh, he goes live. No, he doesn't go live. How do you have 145 subscribers and you don't make anything? Anyway, right now I'm not planning to buy or play Dungeon World 2. It's just not for me anymore. They're removing too much of what made the original special, HP, stats, and more. It feels like the core DNA is gone. I'm going to sip my coffee. I've stepped away from the discussions on Reddit and Discord, and I'm just ignoring it all now. That is so healthy. It really seems like they have no intention of going back to their original vision. Well, it's not Spencer and Helena's original vision. It's Sage and Adams. It feels like they just bought the name to write a completely different game and are using the brand to sell it. I've tried every hack that claimed to fix Dungeon World 1, and I've hated them all. A little strong, but okay. I always ended up coming back to Dungeon World because those hacks, like Chasing Adventure, Homebrew, whatever, just didn't work for me. Not to mention they already use AI-generated illustrations, like in Chasing Adventure, and even artwork from other games in their blog without asking for any permission. I remember that was a whole thing. I also gonna do that. Anyway, I'm not really a fan of how the whole thing is being handled. I might sound very harsh, but even after their latest statements, I've had too many discussions on Discord and got too many responses from them that didn't sit right with me to keep believing in it. I hope I'm wrong, honestly, but for the sake of my own mental health, and probably theirs too, I've decided to step away and let them cook whatever they want. That's healthy, and I applaud you. I'm being sincere, because I feel like that comes off as like a shitty, sarcastic comment. All right, let's read more chat. Gotta go. Looking forward to La Passion. Bye, Ronald. It's been fun. You're probably gone now. I only have the bandwidth to play with IRL friends I'm close to. At that point, the system doesn't matter. They'll trust whatever I run because they are normies by and large. I so agree so much. Yeah, running for friends is always superior, in my opinion. No offense to anyone. And yeah, I mean, every time I've run with my friends, when I got them to run Dungeon World, which got them to trust me about other things, and when we ran Mythic Bastion Land, honestly, hanging out with my friends was the best part. The system didn't really matter because it was all about the company. When I was in Ronald's game, he's no longer here, the company was the best part. You know, like, we were playing Pathfinder, which, like, I don't really fuck with as a system, as I've come to, like, realize, but, like, it didn't matter because I was with friends, and that's all that matters. Oh yeah, same. I only play with people I know IRL or the local RPG club with a pretty static group. That's totally the move. Like, I don't play I haven't been to a convention or anything. Twin Steel with the emojis again. Thanks, pal. I'm just gonna heart. I believe a narrative health system should describe narrative or the. Sorry, just chewing ice on mic. This is the ASMR hour. I believe a narrative health system should describe health as states of being, especially for monsters. Picture 4 hearts containing the words annoyed, injured, crippled, and defeated, perhaps with an enraged when crippled, so you can make a few enemies more dangerous when not dealt with quickly. I'm about to burp, I'm sorry. I think I just disturbed one of my cats. Oh, here it is. Oh. Sorry. No, I'm not. My cats are fucking awesome. I will never apologize for loving on my kitties. Okay, where was I? Perhaps with an enraged when crippled, so you can make a few enemies more dangerous when not dealt with quickly. Different monsters might have more and or different states to go through, like a giant monster might have 6 hearts with a heart for inconvenience and a minor injury heart representing a larger capacity to take non-specific damage. That is literally what they're doing. Then a description of their defenses and weaknesses. Giant crab has a shell as hard as steel, but is too weak for precision attacks and intense temperature changes. You can just attack a crab's shell with swords, but unless you're especially strong, you'll likely just annoy it. A pike piercing through their shell, however, will injure or even defeat it, depending on your speed, accuracy, and beast knowledge. I'm pretty sure that's exactly what they're doing. Laugh emoji. Comment. Heart it, because, I don't know, it was a good faith. I liked it. Alright. I did P2E with friends, but it really soured the hobby for me before I started dabbling in other things. Had only had 5e experience before that. I tried it with IRL friends, but none of us had ever played before, and I didn't fully understand the system or how it works, so it was basically just 5e. Fortunately, Ron kind of taught me how it works. He does a great job of it. It's just not for me. Dragon Con is the only reason I know about DW. Learned about it in 2013, and Dragon Con. I was 18. Didn't know anything about RPGs then. Just knew D&D. Actually, I don't know what time of the year Dragon Con is, but in 2013, I was probably playing in my dorm floor mates D&D 4e campaign. I played one session. I was an absolute terror because I just didn't give a fuck about learning the rules or anything. I was just a douche. We grow, people. We're currently running a War Stories, which is a Year Zero engine game, as well as Shadowrun 2E and Star Trek Adventures with old school essentials in the club. God damn, dude, that's a lot. But kudos to you. I hope it's going well for you. I don't know. War Stories sounds really cool. I have no idea what it is. Labor Day weekend. I was probably being a little shit in my dorm floor D&D game. HP doesn't fix PBTA, Apocalypse World, and my joke to you. Some modern PBTA hardos say Apocalypse World isn't even PBTA anymore. I know. That was I will never get that Reddit comment out of my head ever in the history of my freaking life. That was the funniest thing I've ever seen when someone said Apocalypse World isn't even PBTA anymore. I'm like, that is literally the apocalypse on which everything else is powered by, dude. Calling D&D antiquated doesn't help this word salad becoming a game. Dungeon World is a great product because it helped the DM learning the narrative side of the game, which 3E didn't. Well, to the credit of the designers, we haven't actually seen the full rules. Maybe it'll be great. Spencer also said in the Discord that they're making some changes. We'll only really know when the alpha drops. All right. Hot take, Dungeon World is not D&D. Yeah, apples and oranges, so I'm perfectly fine with doing away with hit points. I'm not playing PBTA games for bookkeeping or to solve pointless abstract math problems and break the flow of the game. On the other hand, I, for one, am not interested in a game because it's PBTA, but I'd like something D&D flavored, but with less overhead, and DW1 does that for me, whereas stripping all D&D out is making it something I'm not released in. He's getting the heart, or she is getting the heart, as opposed to Tarto Flan, because I agree with them. And I don't agree with Tarto Flan. I'm going to say you're right. Dungeon World isn't D&D. I fully believe it is meant to be to emulate D&D style gameplay in the easier PBTA framework. Cool. I wonder if that's gonna... No, that's not gonna... Whatever. It's fine. Alright. Over to the chat. Yeah, War Stories is a World War II game. First campaign book is about the 101st Airborne campaign in Normandy. I got pretty excited for it. We're going to go on a tangent. War Stories RPG. Firelock Games. Has simple mechanics, therefore is easy to start. War Stories made by Firelock Games. Whatever. Let's just pull this over here. Ooh. Are these the posts from the video you made the other day? If by the other day you mean yesterday, yes they are. So Andrew, that's right. You didn't come at the very beginning. It's fine. I'm just kidding. You're probably doing Mother's Day stuff with your lady. So I didn't respond to any comments when I dropped my video yesterday because I was like, I'm going to hoard out for content. So that's what I'm doing. Hello, Ordem do Graveto, who I'm guessing is that Portuguese? I hope. Anyways, War Stories is a role-playing game set during the Second World War. With it, you and your friends may play the role of heroic soldiers parachuting into Normandy during Operation Overlord. Or as a harried tank crew grinding their way through France. You may even explore history as an intrepid war correspondent or an underground resistance fighter. This sounds sick as hell, dude. All right, I'm adding that to the list. If we're already on a tangent, what are your thoughts on Blades, base systems, and the cheese wheel timers? Dude, I need to read Blades in the Dark so badly. I'm so fake because I haven't actually read it. It so intrigues me. I just haven't gotten around to it. It seems like the natural sort of evolution of these sorts of games. Everyone that has ever played them raves about them. There's this great, I don't know if you'd call it a hack, but game that someone wrote called like Blades, World of Blades or something like that. That's basically like, watch my World of Dungeons video. It's that, but for Blades in the Dark. And then it actually serves as a funnel for a Blades in the Dark game. So you basically play through World of Blades or whatever it's called, and then you can start a full-blown Blades in the Dark campaign, and it seems awesome. Cheese wheel timers are HP, 100%. I'll have to comment on your previous video about DW2 about a Brazilian DW hack. Hehe. Indeed. Fantastic. I mean, play Dungeon World 1st Edition, then when you're comfortable, play 2nd Edition. You could totally do that. Hey, this is your mom. Make your bed. Nah. There was another person who was being a dick about it. And I'll elaborate more when we get to them. As a designer, this is exactly how I would approach being handed a game. This is my favorite game. Now I am going to change all the things that made it my favorite. Sure, Jan. I'm just going to defend Spencer and Helena again. Ultimately, we'll see when the alpha drops. But yeah. I don't think it's weird to talk about alpha testing in our hobby. I mean, we all know that playtesting is a thing, and it can be done internally with friends and family, or just the design team. That's what I call alpha testing. When we get to broader testing, we get to beta testing. So what's weird about it is like it's always been. Totally reading way into my comment of saying alpha testing's weird. The concept isn't weird. I'm just so used to it being used in the context of video games. Just wanted to pop in and say I'm looking forward to catching the VOD. Sorry I can't stick around. No worries, Travis J. I appreciate you just popping in and saying hi and then checking out the VOD later. It means a lot. Glad to introduce War Stories. I kind of bounced off Forged in the Dark games and went back to PBTA, but I really want to play Girls by Moonlight, a magical girl for the Fitaba game. I also have I have bands. Someone sent me Band of Blades, which I'm very interested in because as a huge Matt Colville fan, I of course read The Black Company, the trio. I think I've read the first 4 books. The trio is amazing. The second book in the trilogy is just so good. And I would love to do a Mercenary Company style game. Anyways, let's be honest. It sounds confusing as hell, and everyone was mad at Hasbro. Meh. I feel it's time for DW to move past being PBTA but D&D. It just seems that in today's RPG landscape, that's not a unique selling point. I would disagree. I feel like none of the fantasy PBTA games released post D-dubs really do D&D, but PBTA. they do fantasy in PBTA. Does that make sense? Yeah, I mean, like, when you think of, like, there's the various hacks, the successor hacks. It's very Diadoki. It's a deep cut. Of Dungeon World. But then, like Fellowship, that's not D&D, but fantasy. That's, like, clearly Lord of honestly, Fellowship is more Avatar The Last Airbender than it is Lord of the Rings. And then, I'm blanking on it. Iron Sworn, or whatever. That's, like, basically low magic Viking fiction. Not really D&D, although I do like low magic Viking fiction. Oh, I'd agree for PBTA, but Dragonbane, Daggerheart, like, yeah. But, like, that's the thing. Like, Dungeon World is D&D for the PBTA framework. So, you know, if you want to play the PBTA framework, Shadowdark's OSR. Daggerheart is confusing. Dragonbane is Swedish. You know, if you wanted to play something in that PBTA framework, I think Dungeon World's the way to go, because it's D&D but PBTA. I keep trying to understand PBTA games, and everything that you pointed out is the reason I can't get into it. It just seems like what they're trying to do is just remake Fate Core more so than I feel PBTA games already are. I don't play D&D, but I do enjoy a little more mechanical crunch, which is what they are suggesting. It's just going to close off that bridge between players who are like me and interested somewhat in PBTA games. If I want to play an English game, I know there's better verbiage, but that's just what resonates with me, because I know not everyone's an English speaker. I am likely going to go with Fate or Amber Diceless. At least those aren't pretending to be something that they aren't. I don't know enough about Dragonbane is ducks. We love ducks. Yeah, I agree. I hadn't been thinking with that framing when I blurred my comment out. You're totally fine, dude. I say stupid shit all the time. Which, once we get through all the we need to talk about, oh my god, there are so many comments. Jesus Christ! Then we'll get into, let me tell you, rules light RPGs are doomed. If you want fucking popcorn to watch people be mean to me, that is the video. Oh, that comment section. Nobody understands what I was talking about in that comment section. It's like they don't even fucking watch the video. Anyway, Fate or Amber Diceless to make an intelligent comment. I try to own up when I don't know enough. Svid is a great ad for DW2. This is a great undertaking to rip your own roots and deviate from the D&D homage road. Don't like it. Keep rocking DW1. If only I got paid. Laughing emoji. Good game theoretics on publishing. Nah, I loved it. Wait, you loved what? Turns out that doing a live stream where you just read comments is taxing. I think I don't agree with many of your criticisms, but I'm coming from a point of view where all this time after the release of Dungeon World, it was always a PBTA hack. Fuck, I can't talk. I dislike the most. Yeah, it's superficially similar. Yeah, it superficially is similar to D&D, but I guess I was never for this approach. Trick a lazy D&D player to play a game with surface-level similarities. And in my opinion, this direction of game design always took more from the game than it added. I disagree, but that's okay. It was game fundamentally different from D&D that looked the same, and it's just confusing. It resulted in large amounts of great advice on how to play the DW published, but it was not addressed in the game itself. I don't think there's a middle ground between 5e and PBTA. Disagree. Just a heap of leaves masking the gap, so to say. Also, I have unsubstantiated feeling that there are now more D&D players who are ready to try something unfamiliar than it was when D&D 1e was released. You're probably right. And lastly, like, is there even a need for DW2E if we're going to keep all those little fiddly things? Why not just release the same game with added advice from all those great sources and call it a day then? I don't see how and why they could keep all the stuff in the game and make a new edition of the game. At least their approach and goals stated in the Who's It For post makes sense. Agree to disagree. It's like they don't watch the video. Many content creators can relate to that statement. Dude, literally, holy fucking shit. That's how, like, Ronald and I bond the most, and Swing Ripper. We, like, bond the most over. And, you know what, back when we were talking more, she still, go to Discourse. People just don't watch the fucking video. They see the title and they comment. It's so dumb. Oh, reference to my Rules Live video. Thank you. You were in the minority because that video is not very well liked by people. I think it has like a 50% like ratio or something. I'm not talking because I'm giving my voice box a break. I'll read the comment in a sec. I stopped talking. I lost 3 concurrent viewers. How about that? All right. Agree to disagree. I know it's anecdotal, but the similarities with D&D really helped my 5e only friends resonate with the system and grasp its rules, whereas Masks, in all its weirdness, was too much of a stretch for them. I do agree, though, that more D&D only players are probably ready to tackle unfamiliar games in 2025 than 2012, but I still think they're in a minority. Can't spell for shit. My friend and I went to DW to run our 5e campaign, so at the time, it was the go-to for changing gears for folks who had enough of 5e crunch. Hard agree. I think that is the pipeline. I mean, that's how I got into it. I was like, I'm sick and tired of having to remember all this shit from 5e. And then I discovered, like, I had actually played Masks because a friend got me into it. And then I was like, I wonder if there's something like this, but for D&D to do fantasy. And here we are. My friends and I started role-playing in the mid-'80s and did so well in the '90s. Then job, family, etc. happened. I feel that. Recently, everyone got nostalgic, and I decided to start a small campaign again. And I chose DW for 2 reasons. It is immediately recognizable for everyone who played D&D back in the day. Far less prep time needed than actual D&D. In D&D, you need to plan every encounter beforehand. Well, you can get away with not, but that's okay. To me, it sounds like DW should be called Advanced DW instead, designed for players who came for D&D and stayed for storytelling. Maybe. I think it strays too far from the D&D formula from what we've seen thus far to really be D&D at all. Oh, Argus, you're so stinking cute, dude. You look toasty. You're panting. It is hot as fuck here. You can hear my fan in the background because it's hot as fuck here. All right. Agree that D&D is immediately recognizable for everyone who's played D&D. All right, Dungeon Slime, my boy or girl. I'd moved to Trails of Cthulhu to shift from COC a few years ago. I tried some other PBTA games but didn't get them, but after doing DW, PBTA made sense to me. There we go. I don't know what Trails of... What is... Going on a tangent real quick. Trails of Cthulhu. Huh. All right, I'm not going to dive that deep into the tangent. All right, I'll be sticking with original Dungeon World. I prefer it to all the many derivative games. The only additions I use from the Codex magazine, Discern Realities Annual, and similar. Never felt the need for a major revision or rewrite of the rule set. Once again, I'm just not talking while I type. I'll just read out the comment after I type it to give my voice a break. I want to see the alpha before making any big judgments. I agree, though. I, too, have preferred DW to the successor hacks, as I call them. I would recommend throwing Perilous Wilds and Grimwild into your rotation. Into your... I really feel like they do really do add a lot to the game. You know what I'm gonna do? Let's get some tunes. Twitch safe music. Yeah. I'm like the most. Oh, there's a Spotify playlist? Hell yeah. I can't wait to get demonetized. I'm trusting you, Spotify. Don't fuck me on this. So that the lovely viewers don't have to sit in silence while I type. Let's check these levels. Okay, perfect. I swear to God, if this fucks me. TOC mainly resolves around, I think you meant revolves, around having pools of investigation points that you can spend to get additional information as opposed to rolling basically. No, that's kind of cool. Okay. I'm checking my levels again. Okay, okay, cool. Someone let me know if the lo-fi beats to chill to were too loud. Honestly, with Legend of the Mist release soon, I don't have an interest in Dungeon World 2 anymore. LTM does everything I want and more. I know you meant revolves. Oh man, I was enjoying just listening to you breathe and think. Fuck off, Andrew. Hello, the Shadow Realm. Not really shocked by the lack of an HP system. HPs are just a pacing system, and it will probably be replaced by something else in that game. I am annoyed by the no rolling dice thing, though. Dice or other randomizers are the G part of RPGs for me. Otherwise, it's just improv. Hard agree. Only played DW solo a bit, not played a lot of RPGs anyway. I've been quoting your comments for the past 13 hours about HP being a pacing system. Also agree that dice rolls add the G in RPG. When are you going to review Stone Top? It's basically a DW2E that fixes the murder hobo playing by fixing you to a community. Watch the fucking video. I'm just kidding. I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to be that mean. Love to check out Stone Top sometime. It's on my list. Just haven't gotten to it. I say this in the video, but that's okay. Jacob, that's an interesting idea. I'll let you two talk amongst yourselves. You don't investigate hard enough, you just lose. I mean, isn't the whole point of Call of Cthulhu investigating? I genuinely don't know. I mean, I've played it like once, which was like kind of cool, but I agree with everything you said in this video and want to say I think the TTRPG, The Dread of Night, will be much better for getting 5e and Pathfinder players into PBTA than DW2 will be and might even surpass DW on that metric. Is this? I feel like this is kind of douchey, but I mean, I've literally never heard of the Dead of Night. I'm sure the Dread of Night. I'm sure it's a great system. The land of Gradina has been plagued by relentless beat. Nope. It's not generic enough. I think you have to be a sort of like D&D, not successor, but like, you know, be able to be like PBTA D&D. You have to keep it like generic. not gonna say that to that person though. If they watch the VOD, they'll see my thoughts on it. But it just seems like it's too specific and niche, and a PBTA D&D DD, you know what I mean, needs to be able to tell a wide variety of like fantasy RPG stories. All right. If I wanted to sit around and toss tokens as a DM, I'd play poker. You get more chips to throw around. Meh. If I wanted to sit around and toss tokens at a DM, I'd play poker. Meh. Sounds like 30s tough guy. I'm sorry, but their core mechanic just sucks, and you nailed it perfectly when you said it needs the uncertainty. There's no risk or tension. You just look at how many chips you have and know what's going to happen. Yawn. They're likely going to fail by chasing after the critical role crowd. Those people have no interest in playing role-playing by and large. Let's hope they take their time and involve the design. Well, the critical role crowd is like millions of people, so I'm not going to paint a broad brush of all of them. I'm sure many of them love playing D&D. I don't think resistances is the core mechanic of the game, just their replacement for, let's call it what it is, saving throws. All right. I agree with the criticisms. DW is a little clunky, but so is D&D, and that's what makes it such a great bridge. I also think it's fine for DW2 to be something a little different, even if it won't be for me. When Linkin Park announced they have a new singer, a lot of people said they should name the band something else because whatever it is, it's not Linkin Park, even though it has 6 out of the 7 original members. The problem with the new singer, though, and I don't know if she's redacted her statements or whatever, and the reason why I haven't listened to their new album is because she doesn't think that mental health is real. And that's why Chester died, because he had poor mental health. Because he had a lot of problems and demons that money and fame just couldn't help. And he did his best, and he unfortunately took his own life. And the fact that she isn't on board with that is fucked. Anyways, Dungeon Slime is here. Hell yeah. Wait, Dungeon Slime, do you make content? It sounds douchey to say, should I know who you are? Well, you're being a great chatter. I didn't do it. The only part that sounded unpleasant to me was the resistance points. Yeah, fuck the resistance points. That is so shitty. Nope, no content. Well, someone knows you. Anyways, the way they said that, I was like, all right. Anyways, but it's Linkin Park. It's just not your Linkin Park. Ozzy Black Sabbath and Dio Black Sabbath are super different, but they're both Black Sabbath. I think the fact that the designer is thoughtful and respectful is about all we can ask. I agree. If we don't like the product, that's fine. We could just play DW and listen to... This is a super measured and level-headed take that I agree with. Don't be modest. That's funny. All right. Slippery as a stat? No. From what I can hear, this is just touchy-feely crap. I mean, slippery? Really? Really? I'm glad they respect the current game and feelings about it all, but that doesn't excuse making a bad successor. If I remember correctly, they said some shit about, like, woke crap, and I was going to torch them, but they edited that out, so it's fine. This is just touchy-feely crap. I'm just kind of trolling that. Also, I'm confused. I thought there was things already done for DW2E. So it's in the works right now, and they've been releasing blog posts on their design, they being the designers of it. I made a video about it. You should check it out. That was like the most Harry Dubois forced smile ever. IMO, every change they're going to make. DW, a much worse game. Hit points might not fit everyone's idea. PBTA, but they do. Yup. Like a broken record here. Yeah, the new stat names are, which I'm not sure if you were here, but someone's like, everyone's getting mad over new stat names. You're a bunch of babies. I'm like, okay, fuck off. I'm not talking because talking while typing is, my mouth hurts, dude. Ultimately, we'll see when the alpha/beta drops. I mean, I feel like that's going to be many replies to many comments, because ultimately we just don't know until that drops, like, how the game's really going to be. But the changes we've seen, at least in the video, the changes I talk about in the video are not what D-Dubs is all about, being that bridge. But as Helena said in her interview, it seems like they're taking that feedback into account. I think DW is dated, has issues and contradictions, confusing structure. That's why I was so excited about DW2 when it was announced. Now I think that DW2 will just make things worse. It could be a good game on its own, but it's extremely different. My opinion that we as a community should take our matters into our own hand and make DW Rev 2. We already have Uncommon World to start from, and DW SRD under free license. Okay. Many people in the community have made their own successor hacks, as I call them, including the designers of Dungeon World 2, which, yeah, I mean, Spencer, Chasing Adventure is like one of the most common or popular successor hacks of Dungeon World, and that's Spencer wrote it. I agree, though, with what you said about being excited about Dungeon World 2, hopefully fixing the issues, contradictions, and confusing structure, though. I worded that wrong. But, you know, the community won't all want the same thing from DW2, and I so agree with that. That's why there's a million successor hacks, because everyone has taken their own crack at like what Dungeon World 2 should be. That's why we have Uncommon World, Fantasy World, Chasing Adventure, Freebooters on the Frontier, etc., etc. Like, all of these are just different people from the community taking a crack at what they think Dungeon World 2 should be. As usual, thoughtful and sincere, get off YouTube. This is such a weird comment. What a weird comment. But whatever, just sucking my own dick in that comment section. So we can just move on. Let's go to chat. The community. I don't even know what I'd want from a DW2. I'd probably buy it no matter what because I have a problem. Dude, fucking same. And in my Discord server, which you should join, we discussed, like, we had a whole thing because we were going to make DW2 ourselves. And like before it was announced and everything. And even then, it's like, what do we even want from this? And like a lot of the stuff that I would want wouldn't even be like Dungeon World 2. It's just sort of taking the brand name basically to sell a book. But we didn't follow through with it because I'm terrible at that. Anyway. Oh my god, that ice water's so nice. Why doesn't Luke revise Dungeon World 1 into Dungeon World 1.5 by cutting the excessive page count? Remove the systems that don't work. Keep fluff and minimal versions of the rules. Make the results taut, easy to understand, and lighter weight. Design it so a player can bring their 5e character sheet to the table and convert it on the fly during the first session. So what's the issue about what, per se? That's the question. I'll give it a heart. Why not? You can't just put Age of Mythology music in the background and expect me not to notice. Ah, I'm so glad someone noticed, because that song is a bop. I feel like VTM and other classless games do fine with HP. Everyone has 4 to 7 HP, and it takes days, possibly weeks, to fully heal. D&D has the extra baggage of level times 6 to 8. Blah. It's weird to double in power at level 2. What I'm hearing is there's no need for Dungeon World 2. The first, there definitely, I think, is a need for a cleaned up version of Dungeon World to be more streamlined and just like, but, yeah. I don't know. It is what it is. We'll see when it drops. I'm just kind of ignoring the meat and potatoes of their comment, but like that's fine. The 5e tabletop conversion would be great. I have a group of players that learned the game from a Karen one-shot and then started watching 5e content on YouTube, and I'm not sure how to bridge that. I should probably read Karen, but I haven't, so I can't make an intelligent comment. Sorry. I've not played DW in a long time, and I certainly did not run it as well. As it was my first exposure to PBTA however many years ago. I never followed any of the continuing discourse on improving the game's bones. What particular aspects, maybe bonds were weak and the species options kind of mediocre, are things that people could use improvement given the PBTA innovations? Did I just fuck that sentence? Or things that What particular aspects are things that people think could use improvement given PBTA innovations? Are there particular moves or playbooks, or maybe the way fronts work, that have been discussed as needing refinement? I find HP/attributes instead of modifiers conversions not as big of a deal, because I like that it keeps some D&D in a very different style of game, and the game might as well just be fantasy world if you're not going to keep any D&D. But what other area and need polish apart from these two things? Oh, Jesus. This is a marathon of communication. The thing to do with 5e to convert it to a DW-like game is making it non-resource based. It's possible, but it becomes very non-D&D vibe very fast. Yeah, I mean, as you know, DMG's Matt Colville said, D&D is ultimately just a attrition resource-based game, so hard to agree. Oh, you mean ultimate, read Karen, pick up block, dodge parry, and read into the odd, as well as Knave. Jacob, I'm currently only playing Karen and Karen adjacent games. Play Mythic Bastion Land, which scratching my ear. Which is the same author as Into the Odd, and Mythic Bastion Land slaps. I was going to make a video on it, and then I didn't, but it's very good. I played a short campaign with real-life friends, and then it fell apart, but yes, it does. But, yeah. Oh, fuck, this is 3 paragraphs. Great video. Thanks. As far as the HP discussion goes, Apocalypse World clocks and masks conditions are still pretty much HP, but with less bean counting. Hard agree. What's worth considering about these types of systems is not just the narrative impact, but the mechanical impact. If a condition or your status on the clock makes rolls harder, this can start a failure spiral, which is great if that's what the game is about. This changes a player's tactical decision-making to: do I heal to stay away from 0 HP? To do I drink my healing potion to get rid of disadvantage from this broken arm? Do I lash out emotionally to clear it and improve my chances? This also changes the role of the healer classes to be perhaps more crucial to the point of being essential. It's not just about keeping the fighter up and fighting, but managing their negative statuses, keeping them effective in the fight. That, to me, is both mechanically and fictionally interesting, but perhaps not D&D flavored. It also sounds like this is where they're going with resistance points, which is just a Blades in the Dark stress pool to resist consequences, but with more steps. And stress is just another type of hit points, but often the player chooses to spend it. Instead of having X resistance points per stat, I'd just have a pool and call it grit or resolve or resistance or whatever. Once again, the big question is, what interesting thing happens when you run out of this resource? I would have some Final Fantasy style limit break move that gives you some cool effect at a cost. This also incentivizes the player to spend their resistance/grit instead of hoarding it for a potential future clutch moment that never comes, like those 99 healing potions in your inventory. That is just what a well stated comment. No notes. I have nothing intelligent to add to that because that is such an intelligent comment. I can't keep up. Oh goodness, species options as part of the playbooks. That is something that need fixing somehow. I don't know how. Grimworld totally fixed it. Grimworld basically separates class from species or race or whatever you want to call it, and just adds racial options or species options. Ultimate Dungeon World is pretty much the cleaned up version of DW, is it not? Haven't read it. Or was it World of Dungeons I'm thinking of? Definitely not. World of Dungeons is like the most bare bones version of Dungeon World, which I did a video on. A big part of why I like Vagabond is for its D&D flavor with unlimited uses for most class features. I haven't heard of it, but I should check it out. Here in Brazil, we have Blood and Glory, which started out as a hack of Dungeon World, but with more moves, more classes, more compendiums, and more races, it evolved over time and became a better bridge between PBTA and classic RPGs. We consider it the perfect front door for PBTAs. Something that helps with PV is adding some thresholds. You fell under 10 PV, you take a debility, you fell under 5 PV. I assume PV is HP in Portuguese. Take a -1 penalty for everything, whatever. Portuguese only. That sucks. Sangue e Gloria. Sounds pretty cool, though. Getting rid of a meta currency everyone understands, only to replace it with a different and also weird meta currency is a weird flex. Now, I may not have laughed out loud that hard, but the first time I read it, I did genuinely laugh out loud. DW2 doesn't erase DW1 from existence. DW1 can continue to be a bridge between the classic RPGs and modern RPGs, while DW2 is further down the bridge connecting DW1 to modern RPGs. I think it could be neat to have two related systems with changes that serve a preferred playstyle. So, like, I would agree with you, but I have noticed with Heroescape, something that I haven't talked about in a while, the new stuff has sort of erased the old stuff. Now, maybe this is because Renegade is making it so that in 2026 you won't be able to use the old stuff in, like, official tournaments anymore, which I could make a whole video about. But it is something where people who are new to the game don't really think about the old stuff. Now, that is a little bit different because that is a tabletop miniature war game, and the old stuff isn't produced anymore. But I do, have a fear that it could, like, people won't stop, especially people who first come to it, they're like, why would I play Dungeon World 1? I could just play Dungeon World 2, which is newer and better. Or that's the perception. Ultimately, we'll find out when it is released, but, yeah. I should probably, communicate that in the comment now. Okay. I fear that down the line, people won't glance at DW1 because why would they check out the old version when there's a new version that's presumably so much better? And then, because DW2 currently leans heavily into PBTA design and not bridging the gap with D&D, they'll go, fuck this. Which is basically what I said beforehand, but, I would never suggest DW as an introduction to PBTA games. I really think that Dungeon World is held back by its many mechanical nods to D&D, but I'm sure other aspects can still have that D&D flavor. I did ditch HP for sure, but still use the D&D stats, for example. I would and have used it as an intro precisely because of the mechanical nods to D&D. They're familiar enough to people who have never played anything else while opening them up to other design possibilities, which is literally the thesis of my video, and if they actually watch it all the way through, they'd probably get that, but that's okay. We're saving the anger for if we get to the rules like RPGs are doomed comment section. That's the real juice. If you want the cheese may, as one of my friends says, that's where it's at. I agree. My issue is that I don't want to play Critical Role style 45-minute RP drama mixed with emotional connections and relationships and maybe some action along the way. I want RP, sure, I want connections, but as a side dish. The main course being the fighter launching headfirst into the King's Guard, the ranger using their shield to surf down the blah 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 blah. Most importantly, as Adam Coble said, I want a system that allows me to run D&D style adventures for people without having to play D&D. I don't think this game will be for me. That's okay. It's just a shame. I was looking forward to it. Yeah, I mean, I also don't want to play Critical Role style 45-minute RP drama. I've watched like one episode of Critical Role, not even all the way, so I'm like not the person to comment on that. Once again, I'm not talking to save my jaw. The emotional connections and relationships that form add the stakes, methinks. Launching headfirst into the King's Guard without explaining why leaves me just feeling empty about it. I do agree, though, that there has to be a balance, and focusing exclusively on the relationships is lame. That being said, one of the best moments I've ever had playing a tabletop role-playing game was when I was playing Masks with a couple of friends that I met on Discord, and literally the session was just the two of them talking in the hospital after one of them got fucked up by a villain, and it was awesome. However, I mean, if you don't have them getting knocked into the hospital or whatever, then you don't get those moments, and those moments make getting knocked into the hospital that much better. There's a balance to it. Okay, dude, maybe next time clean your room before you record. All right, I'm gonna get kind of real. I find that perfectionism often gets in the way of me making videos. Okay, I'll just get real with like the stream, and I don't know how much of this I'll say in the comment, but like, so like my room's a fucking mess, but like definitely in the past I really had problems making videos because I would want everything to be completely perfect when I pressed record, and then it really stopped me from making videos, which is basically what I said. Because I'd be fretting, I'd be like really like uptight and anxious. I wouldn't like perform as well on camera because I'm so anxious about it, because I'm like, everything has to be perfect, like Jesus fucking Christ. And it was really one of those things where I hadn't made a video in like almost 3 months, and I had been sort of noodling this script for ages. That's a big roadblock for me, is writing the script as well. And so I had finally gotten to something, and I was like, if I don't record this right now, I will never do it, and I will never make this. And I really want to, because I get a lot of enjoyment from making YouTube videos. It's just hard for me to start. So yeah, that's why my room was a mess. That's the I got real and lost 3 concurrent viewers. It's so funny. Oh, thanks, Andrew. I, for one, am glad you make YouTube videos, or I would have never met you because you live on the West Coast. That's wholesome. Watching the cat in the background was a big plus, to be honest. Yeah, because cats fucking rule, dude. Here. I should probably, like, look on OBS. There's Uther sleeping. And there's Forgive My Laundry, but there's... Fuck, there's Arthas. Just hanging out. I don't know where Beyonce is. That's my other cat. I have 3 cats. Okay. You have dogs named Arthas and Jaina. That's baller. Yeah, because so they're... I mean, obviously I call them brothers. They're technically not the same litter. Arthas is born June 4th. Uther March 29th. So Uther's a little bit older, but he was like the mentor for Arthas. So I can just never take Arthas to Greenland because he will murder his brother. But, you know. World of Warcraft is cool, man. Alright. Just keeping it real with this random fucking loser. Helena keeping it real. That's my friend Kelsey. I'm just going to heart it and move on. I think you make a great point highlighting the importance of being a bridge to D&D players. Since for so many RPG players, D&D is the only one they've ever known, there has to be some off-ramp to ease them into trying other games. Agree. When I first heard about DW2, I was totally on board with killing all the sacred cows, but the more I thought about it, the more I realized it's important to retain some familiar connective tissue. Agree. Unfortunately for Spencer and Helena, the development of DW2 is just as much about the role DW plays in the RPG hobby as it is about making a great game. 10 out of 10. Comment. No notes. I agree. All the way. It started as a hack, but it changed over time. I spent 4 years upgrading and modifying the system to make it deadlier, to put more emphasis on character customization. Oh, is Blood and Whatever your system? I was at an RPG, but I saw you mention my comment about Blood. To clarify, I'm the author. Oh, all right. Ah, fucking self-shilling it. No, I'm just kidding. You're fine. Is it possible that DW2 could be a bridge in the other direction, helping PBTA players get access to something closer to... I'm pretty sure PBTA community would respond to the notion of something closer to D&D with Burn the Witch. That's silly. Oh, man. Okay, I have a comment for this. I am going to go get more water and go to the bathroom because I've been at it nonstop for an hour and 25 minutes and refill my coffee, and I'll be right back. Little crotch shot for you. All right, I'm back. Oh, that's kind of a bop. I just got back in time to see you respond to my comment. Wait. Oh. Sick. Yeah, then you saw that I said 10 out of 10. No notes. Oh my god. Okay, wait, hold up. You get to see my disgusting room, but look at that. Look at him. Look at him. Artes. Oh, Twin Steel. I responded to your comment too. Look at him. Look at that sweet little angel. I know I need to put my clothes away, but look at my sweet little baby boy. He's so stinking cute. What? What? Oh, of course. The second I fucking move the webcam, he's like, All right, this has been the Arthas Power Hour. Qatar. Okay, back to the task at hand. Actually, let me read chat. I've released another system where I don't use hit die or HP. It's PV in Portuguese. I picked that up on context, but for DW/Blood and Glory, I believe it works very well. Twin Steel, hello again. Thank you for the emojis. I responded to your comment. Maybe that's what brought you here. It just needs something like I mentioned in short. Kataya, truly we are blessed. Thanks, partner. I responded to your response. I will look at your response to my response in a sec. We have to get through all of the comments for this video, which was a much bigger undertaking than I thought. But it's cool. Okay. Is it possible that DW2 could be a bridge in the other direction, helping PBTA players get access to something closer to D&D? This is a very silly... I'm not going to roast this person because this feels like it was very much... You know, this was good intended, but it's just kind of silly. Hooray, hug, thumbs up. The thing to find in the conversation about DW to D&D is, do we want the D&D vibe but easy on the table shoulders, or we want to play a non-D&D game that doesn't repel D&D only players? Ooh, that's a great question. I think, for me, I think it's D&D vibe but easy on the table shoulders. I think that's the way to go. I'm gonna hit this person with an emoji. Shrug. All right. I think one big thing you're missing is that DW1 isn't going anywhere. If you want to introduce your D&D players to PBTA, then play DW1. Once they get the hang of that, upgrade to DW2. I'm just going to copy and paste a previous comment. Whoop. Sorry, I'm lazy. God, I feel like a real YouTuber. I have so many fucking comments. I'm so popular. This is like one of the my best performing videos that I've ever done, though, which is pretty fucking cool. Let me check the numbies because it's still been going. Holy shit, 5 noties. So many people responding to my comments. Yeah, I mean, I hit 4,000 views in a day. So my number 2. Because the way YouTube does it is it ranks your most recent 10 videos by view at whatever point, was Dungeon World's biggest news ever, which we talked about, which was at 2.8k. So this has been going really well. I'm very pleased, especially because I put a ton of work into it. Okay, yeah, the D&D only crowd is very strict in that my experience, and it's usually coming from the GMs. Hard to agree. It's a celebration of the video, a huge uplifting gesture of support, and a positive affirmation of the video itself. Well, thank you, Twin Steel. I appreciate you. Okay, where the fuck were we? Okay. Been a long time since I've seen one of those banners. ASU class 2013 here. Hey, hey! Sorry, just had the Appalachian State University, baby! Woo! Go Nears! All right, our football team sucks, though we just got a new coach. It was so fun. When I went there, when our football team was good, it was so fun. That aspect. I mean, App State's fantastic in and of itself. But, all right. The resistance resource sounds a lot like the luck mechanic from Monster of the Week, which works pretty well in my opinion. We will find out when the game drops. Alright. I would have just made an advanced version of World of Dungeons instead of going all in on the PBTA. Brother, that is Dungeon World. I think Dungeon World 2 should be an off-ramp, and I think their design is failing to do that. This is kind of a funny comment. I'll read it again just in case. I would have just made an advanced version of World of Dungeons instead of going all in on PBTA. I think Dungeon World 2 should be an off-ramp, and I think their design is failing to do that. This is kind of a funny comment because Wodu was designed to be a hyper-simplistic OSRE Dungeon World. So your advanced version of World of Dungeons is Dungeon World. Alright. Maybe we should see this as the DW tunnel where people go from D&D to DW1 to DW2. Someone actually, there was a commenter that suggested that. From my experience, I had a lot of D&D players that tried DW and couldn't understand it because the language of PBTA is too specific. Interesting. By just replacing the language to be closer to classic RPGs, it already makes the game way more accessible. I agree that it needs to have that familiar language. I have to agree on not liking meta-currency. Part of the thrill is the randomness and weaving the narrative around that. I like 7th Sea's Death Spiral a lot, points and narrative. Sure. I couldn't agree more. The problem is not with the pureness of PBTA, but its accessibility to D&D players. PBTA shoots itself in the foot again. Agreed. Look at all the thumbs up. Wow. Sounds a lot like you... you know what? Let's go over here. I got distracted. Squirrel. Anyway, DW is also a great game to hack, as we can all agree. It can be a really good gateway into game design, but the D&D only crowd, one must stop with DW and explore more of the hobby. For sure. Sounds a lot like you want them to release Dungeon World 1E again with 2 in the title. If you really want the same game again, why not just play the same game and ignore 2E? I agree in principle, but that doesn't mean people can't express why it's not for them. In this case, it's being sold as DW2. Why then is it gutting the core mechanics of Dungeon World? While I respect Helena's vision for Dungeon World 2, I wonder who this system is even catering to because it's not DW loyalists. Agree. I'd also contend that people sometimes do want to buy the old thing again, except the new version of the old thing would ostensibly have revisions, clarifications, and additions that are iterative for the OG system. Meaning, that's at least what I would want out of Dungeon World 2, but that's not what we're getting. Or maybe we're all just whining and should play Dungeon World as you're suggesting, Lamau. I guess it would be nice if they add revisions and clarifications. Just agreeing. Yep. All right. Cool. 10 out of 10 comments. No notes. Cat. Hello, Cat. I'm sorry, what were you saying? I actually have 3. All right. Twin Steel. Me. I do. So, Twin Steel. I don't know if you've seen, but I do have videos talking about both Perilous Wilds, Grimworld, and Class Warfare, which are all just expansions to Dungeon World, which I commented on. So maybe you watch those. Anyway. Oh, fuck. This is a long comment. Okay. There's not a need for Dungeon World 2. There are great supplements that have been around for a while addressing all of its shortcomings. If there was a need, these people are not the ones to make it. They have no connection to the original game. They just bought the IP to boost sales of their own vaguely related game. Calling it Dungeon World 2 when it has nothing to do with the original is just disrespectful. Just make a new game and sell it under its own title, something they have both already done. I don't see anything in their current design that strikes me as new, innovative, or really filling any needed gap. You want a new, innovative, spiritual successor to Dungeon World, go with Grimwild, which we've said before, I just cannot get into for whatever reason. New, more interesting dice mechanics, adventure fronts done right, moving back from playbooks and moves and PBTA jargon while keeping fiction first, and more interesting take on hit points that is both familiar and revolutionary. Bottom line is, it brings something new to the table and keeps the feel of D&D. This DW2 slop is just watered down DW until it feels like a generic hack of PBTA. PBTA was very innovative in its time. If you just want a reskin for a new genre, it already has been done well for every branch of fantasy. But maybe it's time to stop worshipping at the altar and realize that PBTA wasn't the end of game design and the new game needs some new ideas if it should exist. That's probably an intelligent take, but fuck you. No, I'm just kidding. New to DW, what supplements are you talking about? There's Homebrew World, Dungeon. You know, that's a good comment. There are Homebrew World, Dungeon World Unlimited. Those are the biggest two. Then there are several other supplements or reimaginings. Wodu, as they strip down rules light. Funnel World, Funnel. I've heard of Funnel World. It's a funnel for Dungeon World. Freebooters on the Frontier, Perilous Wilds, and Stonetop. Newer offerings include Fantasy World, Adventure World, Chasing Adventure, last one written by one of the DW2 writers. So that is what I mean when I say it's not needed. There is already a variant for just about every taste, and this looks like it's being done by a bunch of PBTA purists who mostly want to strip the D&D out of it, but we already have several of those. They really aren't offering any reason to buy a new book. Maybe they will put in some nice art. So, like, kind of shitty, but, like, I do kind of agree that it does feel like it's being written by PBTA purists who want to get rid of the D&D, which Helena kind of said that in her blog post, that, not that they're PBTA purists, but that they wanted to get rid of the D&D. And, like, she even said in her interview that, like, all of her friends that she runs the game for are, like, PBTA hardos who don't give a shit about D&D. And they didn't really, like, look at it from, you know, that, like, viewpoint. I agree that Gain World is a more updated and polished take on how to do what DW was doing, but better. This new thing is actually beyond Neotrad. Almost feels like it should come with some journaling books and a deck of playing cards. PBTA fantasy for sure, but nothing to do with DW recently, just a brand boost for it. Really wanted to like Grim Wilds, but I just couldn't get into it for whatever reason. I'm just gonna respond to that. There's a lot there that, whatever. All right. Oh, you've watched my whole backlog. Sick. Thanks, man. Okay. Oh fuck. I'm trying to catch up with the chat now. Wow, I feel like a real content creator. From my experience, I had a lot of D&D players that tried DW and couldn't understand because... Oh, nope. Already did that. Great game to hack. Only Italian content. I'm Italian. I mean, this as respectfully as possible. I knew you were Italian. Your name's Guido Campanini. It's like the most Italian name I've ever heard on the face of the planet. Here, the publisher integrated a lot of material from the community, and the most prolific one named Fantasy World. Dude, someone wanted me to do a Fantasy World video like 3 years ago, and I started it, and I've never finished it, which is the story of my fucking life. Well, maybe I can stumble my way through with my Spanish. ¿Tú hablas español? Yo hablo un poquito español. I don't know how to say, but je prends 4 ans, 4 ans de français dans l'école. Je prends 2 ans dans lycée et 2 ans dans l'université. That is like the extent of me knowing not English. Which I went to Europe for the first time last year, and the coolest thing I think I ever saw, I never realized, like, I knew that English is kind of like a universal language, but it was really cool seeing two people who didn't speak each other's first tongues using English to, like, as a common tongue. Like, that was such a cool experience for me. It was like a German dude and like an Italian guy or something. They were communicating in English, and I thought it was the coolest thing ever. Anyways, Oh, like a D&D 3.5 crossover. Really hard to see a place for DW2 in a world where both DW now Shadow Dark exists. I agree with basically everything they're doing. More like an errata with a really funny name. Purée, il colle bien les bouches. Ah! Tu parles français? Ouais. Yeah, my vocabulary. Mon vocabulaire très merde. Anyways. I said in your announcement video that they weren't going to get it right. As for the interview, unless they actually changed the rules back, all they offered was weak platitudes. DW isn't perfect, but you don't fix it by gutting the whole thing and not giving a shit to those who came before. Thank you for a well thought out video. Remember, interviews are about gaining popularity. Updates are about intention. I work in PR, so believe me, I know. I'm choosing to believe these are two passionate nerds doing what they think is best. Motherfucker, my goddamn spacebar is like fucked. I work in PR, so believe me, I know that interviews are all about getting popularity. I do them frequently. For my day job, not for this. I'm not that cool. I'm choosing to believe these are two passionate nerds doing what they think is best. The indie RPG scene is too small for malice anyway. It's not like they're going to make generational wealth off this. I think that's so important to remember. Like, they're probably getting paid $30,000 a year to do this, maybe. Like, I'm sure both of them have day jobs. Nobody in the indie RPG scene is getting generational wealth, I don't think. Anyway. Hopefully this edition has some actual art and some extra books to spark inspiration/adventures built around the uniqueness. I stopped reading the book a chapter in because it just doesn't feel like a TTRPG book. Nobody except Wizards thinks there's real money in RPGs. And the Wizards doesn't even make real money in RPGs. Yeah, I think like Paizo probably breaks even. I doubt they're like turning a profit. It's just not an industry. Nobody gets into this industry to make money. Like, I didn't start making TTRPG YouTube videos because I wanted fucking generational wealth into... very briefly, I was deluded to think that I could like maybe do it full time. But like, I talk about indie RPGs, dude. Like, day job forever, 100%. All right. Oh. My fucking jaw. Can't believe I'm saying this, but I'm going to bat for hit points. The point of them isn't to cause any effect. They are a timer. I've been quoting this. I attributed that to the other guy, but the point of them isn't to cause an effect. They are a timer, like Hitchcock's bomb, where eventually the massive effect of the timer hitting 0 will be important. Take a player with 50 hit points and one with 1 hit point. They behave very differently due to the proximity of 0 hit points. The problem with conditions is they typically create additional tracking and mechanical complexity for the sake of making damage matter, under the assumption that losing HP doesn't matter, resulting in a more cumbersome game where the act of being damaged becomes a core part of the experience in a way that... Wait, you're in the fucking stream! Dude, I literally have been quoting this like in the past 23 hours. I think I've quoted this like 3 times in discussions like Discord and shit. It's such an intelligent fucking comment. I wish I knew how to pin from here. I feel like a noob because I'm blanking on how to pin. Like, you're hearing me reply to you in real time, which is cool. Okay, I gotta read the fucking... Holy shit, this is discourse. All of a sudden, discourse comes in. Huh? Okay. What's odd is they're ditching HP, but then using resistance points, which feels like another HP-style meta currency, just divided into different buckets based on ability scores. Agree. I'm currently extremely satisfied with how Knave 2E and other no-SR games are doing HP and damage these days. Basically, keep HP kind of low-ish and have it be a pool of damage a character can take before receiving serious injuries. Agreed. Which then go to your inventory slots, con strength, whatever. Mythic Bastion Land does that. It's very cool. to serve as a tracker of actual wounds that can give you penalties and lower your stats. This means that you can have HP as a sort of resource. You spend carefully while adventuring, while your character can take a beating without dying immediately at 0 HP. It also helps educate lasting injuries and wounds, which are usually an afterthought in other games. Agreed! I think we all know that hit points are a timer, and the idea that players will behave differently depending on their HP is a good point. I suppose the question is, how relevant is that to a fiction-first system like Dungeon World? I personally feel that HP actually works just fine in Dungeon World. Agreed! With a couple of problems. Dice rolls for damage are an awkward way of resolving non-technical combat. Kind of agreed. In character class, determining the amount of damage you deal is outright kind of stupid. Disagree! However, I do wonder if an alternative could be better. Every other good system, which doesn't have any form of board gamey combat, doesn't tend to use HP either, or if they do, they make HP a measure of something qualitative. Like Apocalypse Worlds effectively hurt to injured to unstable to dying to dead health states. My point is, I feel like there's something better than HP, or at least just HP. I think Tabletop Bro is correct. The best move is to have HP mixed with another system. I think you can get the benefits of using the game as a bridge and benefit from... This is the best thread I've seen all day. Agreed! Solely because I agree with everything that's being said. OP hasn't made an argument in favor of hit points, though. I thought I was pretty clear, but I can be clearer. HP is effectively a clock, which creates tension in an action seed. It has a big impact with relatively little tracking. Oh, we're still going. Yes, we're still going. Dude, I still have... 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 more comments to go, and then... I'll let you in on me getting absolutely flayed alive by people for my Rules Light RPGs Are Doomed video. I mean, I'm basically just telling you, Dungeon Doctor, excuse me, what you said, but in the comment, I'm just reiterating what I said. All right. I hope Nimlouth sees that, because I also agree with what Nimlouth said. I'm just gonna... I don't think the is working, but that's okay. Oh, fuck. Watching someone read and respond to my rude comment in real time was surreal. Thank you. Wait a minute. Okay, fuck. Now I need to scroll up to find you. Was your comment rude? That's so funny because you guys are getting notifications that I'm responding to your comments. So then you get to see me just real time kind of shitting on you. That's I feel like I haven't really been shitting on people though. Alright, whatever. The way I modify... wait, hold up. I'm going to read your comment in a sec. Andrew, let me scroll back. Fuck, I lost my place. Ah! Okay. The way I modified HP damage for my table works really well. Not sure if you have already passed my comment earlier in the chat, but go on. What, in the chat of... It was in an hour and 18 minutes ago. Okay. I'm going to pull up another window because I don't want to lose my place, but now I want to see what your rude-ass comment was. Unless you responded. I have 6 noties. Fuck. I'm going to have to... Once I get to the bottom of this, I'm going to have to respond to the responses. And then we're just having a conversation. At that point. Oh, that's fun. This is fun. I'm having fun. I hope you guys are having fun, because I'm having fun. All they did was change the stat names and hit points. That's why everyone's complaining you people are babies. Ha! All right. Yeah, your comment was rude, douche. I'll take a look at your reply in a sec. We just have to the comment on the video you're commenting on. Join the conversation. We're all having a conversation here. Oh fuck. Who? This is so just calm nerdy of me. slash Englishy. Oh, who proposed the great conversation? Oh, it's a book. The Great Conversation is the ongoing process of writers and thinkers referencing, building on whatever. Okay. Yeah, whatever. The Great Conversation. That's what we're having. Fun is being had. Fun is not mandatory. Fun is not mandatory. This is great, smiley face. I'm glad you guys are enjoying yourselves. Okay. Neeb neeb dib dim nib dim is an outro, is a new battle cry. Goddamn right. Alright, now we gotta get to this fucking prick. One of the posts I made on one of these reveals was pretty much what you said here. DWIMO is, god damn it, Andrew. Dungeon World, in my opinion, is the gateway from D&D to PBTA. Agreed. We already have fantasy PBTA, and I was hoping that DW was going to continue to be that transition. IMO bought the name since it's well known, and they are hoping that people will buy it based on the name. Kind of agree. There's no similarity anymore. Kind of agree. Blah. Words are hard. The main thing that helped my table transition was the fact that DW was D&D adjacent, and the stats and everything all made sense according to my D&D players. Agreed. I'm just harding you just off the cuff. It's not hard to keep HP. When I run Dungeon World, the damage die tells me what extra oomph I'm going to add to the attack. There's a damage chart that tells you what damage die to... Aha! I've been quoting you! Page 23 of the PDF, so the higher the damage die roll, the more the fiction I press on you. D8, blah, blah, blah. Meta currencies, create a save for the boss, which is one of the large problems with D&D. Don't use it now, we might need it later, and then never gets used. As usual, thank you for making content for my eyeballs and amazing outro. I'm so glad. Look at that. I'm just reacting to you, reacting to me. Anyway, by the way, you have played a game I helped make, but I'm not telling which. Have I played a game that you helped make? Do you know which games I've played? Wrath is Me? Rude I think it's so funny. It's just watching someone read and respond to my rude comment in real time was surreal. Thank you. That's so funny. Totally agree on meta currency. It's fine to have a currency, but it needs to be short-lived and regularly replenished, like hold and forward, and just succeeding rather than having the dice decide. Well, now we've just moved to pass the story stick because some folks are too sensitive. No risk, no adventure. If you control everything, it's not much of a game. Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to shit on the sensitivity or whatever. People, you know, have different thresholds, whatever. But for the most part, I kind of agree. It's just Joseph being Joseph. Whatever. I'm just gonna heart. Great vid. I'll note the crossover is just as important for GMs too. As a seasoned GM in the mechanics heavy games, having tools I understand through naming convention made the process of running DW so much smoother than some of the other narrative games I've run since then, which all use their own lexicon. Hard agree. It's why I prefer DM and those classic things. You know how little that narrows it down? Oh, sorry. You've made at least one video at least mentioning it, and it was shown to me, and I subbed off of it. You have any idea how little that narrows it down? Oh, hi, Jason. As a French, I can't tell if the adjective's chosen bienvenue. Bienvenue mon stream. Désolé, mon français, mon vocabulaire pour mon français est très merde. I do what I can. I do my best. Je prends 4 ans dans l'école. I just like dropping that. Anyway, you made at least one video at least mentioning it, and it was shown to me, and I subbed off of it. That doesn't narrow it down, but I'm going to go through my fucking thing. Once I finish this last comment, before we go to people just shitting on my fucking life, that's the point. I don't want you to know which one it is. LOL. I don't think I've ever, like, been super negative about a game, though. Maybe. I mean, I do kind of shit on Fellowship, though. Kind of, sometimes. Because I didn't have fun with it, but, you know, whatever. I feel are super important for bringing new people in. That was kind of a stupid statement, but whatever. You're in the fucking chat, so... Thanks, Graybeard and Joseph. Okay, so I will respect Wrath is Me not knowing super negative. I don't think I've really been negative. The verbiage for the not abilities feels unintuitive to me. English UK perspective. I'm a good designer. Shake my head. I'm sure you are. Unless, you know, you made Fellowship, which is okay. The thing about Fellowship, sorry, that was super shitty. I think Fellowship is a fine game. It just didn't work for me. I don't like having those like super like rails of how you should DM. Anyway, this is gonna bother me. I'm a good designer. Shake my head. You probably are. I was probably positive about your game. Fuck, this is gonna bother me so much. Okay. You weren't negative about it. Yes! Okay, wait, fuck. Oh, dude, now I have to know. Add me on Discord. Dude, go to my Discord server. Add me on it. I really want to know. I promise I won't tell the class. Anyway. Will this age like milk? After all the shit Wizards of the Coast did, more and more people ditching the recycled slip that is D&D. How do I even respond to that? Did it age like milk? Really? You didn't know? Shake my head. All right, I'm just this is the comment section where I can just be my worst self because nobody actually watched the fucking video and they just like to be dickheads to me. All right. So now we're finally finished with all of the we need to talk about Dungeon World 2. Okay, I'll do the second Rules Light RPGs are doomed, and then we'll go to the replies that people have been replying to, which a lot of them are now watching the stream, which is kind of cool. But Rules Light RPGs are doomed. Should I like put on the whole video? I think I should. Okay, let me reply to the comments first of what we did, and then I'll fucking react to my own video that I made like over a year ago. Here's my YouTube feed. Josh Strife Hayes, what a ledge. All right, holy fuck balls. Okay, where do I start? Got some likes. We know the pin. Okay, cool. You're right, but now... Okay, wait, fuck. You're right, but hey, now they're creating a second edition. Honestly, kind of hyped after this vid. Cool. You know what? I think I'm wrong, actually. I forgot that that's basically the entire game. I will, however, say that I am in 200% agreement with the changes, except that the made currency thing, I think that's over-designed. Fair enough. All right, one reply down. Oh, good, bro. Don't sweat it. You look great. Thanks, King. Okay, Wrath is mean. That's your reply. Fine. Be stubborn. Oh. All right. I think that's in good faith. It's like it's a heart. Okay. Yeah, I wrote this comment with passion and speed, not brains. Oh, wait. Fuck. What did I even say? Okay, wait. Let me go back to the chat. No, I have no grudge against. I decided to be rude of my own accord. We've all had games other than the other people love, but we just bounce off it. Me and Blades in the dark. Yeah, dude, I want to like fucking Grimwild so badly. I want to, but it's just not. There's just a block for me. Just ran a Dungeon World game for my 5e only group. Feels good. Nice to see you streaming, dude. I don't recall that before. I stream very irregularly. Sometimes I'll stream video games on Twitch. I have a Clips channel that I started that I then almost immediately didn't update, but you know, it's fine. Also, games everyone else hates and we think are the greatest games ever. LOL. Yeah, me and fucking Dungeon World, dude. It's the man himself. LOL. Okay. The emotional connections and relationships with yeah, I wrote this comment with passion and speed, not brains. Connections are important, otherwise it's all meaningless. I'm just scared Dungeon World 2 is going to go all the way in one direction. Hopefully we're both surprised. Fingers crossed. We'll find out when the alpha drop. I'm a master skateboarder on my streams. I did a Skate 3 stream. And then Skate 3 like kind of blew up on my PC because I was emulating it. Anyway. Here for the meta conversation. Oh, I'm talking to Dungeon Slime, who's in my fucking chat. Yeah! Here for the meta conversation. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. I'm basically a potato brain. Didn't think about it from that angle. What did I even say to you? I would disagree. I feel like, no, the fantasy PPTA. Yep. Bitchin'. Okay, cool. Okay, now I'm gonna fucking watch my own. This is so. Is this douchey? I feel like this is douchey. Wait. No! I lost my place. Damn it. Fuck. Okay, we have more comments. Dungeon World 2, Electric Boogaloo. Yep. So Dungeon World 2 is eating Fate's lunch and stealing Cypher system rule deck, and they think it will be successful. LOL. Good luck. I don't know anything about Fate or Cypher system rules to make an intelligent comment. I'm an actual video game, so I'm out of the TTRPG industry. Dude, that's awesome. Add me, brah. Noblesse is my golden cow. I've accepted I'm the only person who unironically loves it. Oops, play us lost. Yeah, fucking for real. Okay. Let's watch my video. And then react to my video. Oh, shit. Now I need to... Hold up. I need to adjust the levels so you can actually, like, hear it. Dude, is reacting to yourself just the most pompous thing on the face of the planet? I think it is. Okay. Rules-light role-playing games like Dungeon World, Morkborg, and Old School Essentials will never be as popular as Dungeons & Dragons or Pathfinder. And the reason is simple.
Listen, today I'm going to show you how to become an absolute insane force of nature in Baldur's Gate.
In today's video, I will be sharing my Hexagon build.
Hello, my fellow dwellers of the
Today
gates.
we're going to take a look at the Warlock class, one of the three main...
So you're gonna play Curse of Strahd, huh? You're gonna step into the misty lands.
The party is
of
trapped in the mysterious demiplane of Barovia in one of 4 ways. The land
In this
is run
video,
by...
I want to
I
impart
love
to
this
you
montage
13
so much.
things
I
that
worked
wish
so
had
hard
done
on it, and I'm so
differently in
proud.
retrospect.
It looks so good. It goes on way too long, but
Pathfinder
fuck,
2 is
man.
the best RPG ever made, but if you use these 5 rules, you are wrong. I run this game rules as written.
And welcome to the
Also,
Psychic
that
Class
probably
Deep
explains
Dive
why so many
for
people
Pathfinder
fucking shit
2nd
on it and
edition.
dislike
Personally,
it,
for my
because
games, I
they
found the
definitely
dungeon
didn't get
rules a
past
little
the intro
disappointing,
montage.
but
They
that's
just saw
because they're
the
designed to do
literally the
a very
opening
specific
comment
thing,
without
which is
watching the rest of the video.
Not break the game and
God
give characters
forbid
things to
someone
do
watches
during
the whole
long
video. Okay, that was pretty cool. But what does a montage of other people's Dungeons & Dragons, Pathfinder, and even Baldur's Gate 3 content have to do with why rules-light games will never be successful? Well, let's see what happens when we look up Dungeon World on YouTube. Yeah, you only find my videos because I'm the only person who makes videos on it. You do find a lot more about Morkborg. And finally, Old School Essentials. But I think it's just people reviewing Morkborg. Did you notice a pattern here? In case I'm on your second monitor, which if I am, rude, the only content that exists for the rules light examples that I mentioned are reviews and actual plays. Whereas if you look up D&D, you'll find stuff like Forgotten Realms lore and holy crap, that's a good thumbnail. Sorry, I meant updates from the latest Unearthed Arcana. If you look up Pathfinder, you'll find an overview on the new Kineticist class, how to pick a class, which once again, that is a great thumbnail, and why spellcasting is better in Pathfinder than in D&D. Are you picking up what I'm putting down? The 2 most popular RPGs on the planet have more content than the make-believe shit you're into. Not just more content, but more varied content, because there's far more to talk about. D&D 5th edition can be a convoluted mess. The pre-written adventure paths aren't the most intuitive things to run in the world, and even if you do manage to scrape a session together, they can probably be run way better. That opens the door for channels like Lunch Break Heroes for giving you tips and tricks on how to run the pre-written adventures better. Pathfinder gives you a billion character options, and contrary to what the Pathfinder hardos tell you, if you f up your build, you are going to have a terrible time, which opens up the door for D4 deep dives to make an hour-long build video. But rules-light systems like Dungeon World, Morkborg, and Old School Essentials are fairly simple and straightforward. Dungeon World is a narrative-focused, powered by the Apocalypse game, so build doesn't even really matter. The moves you unlock only exist to enable mechanics for whatever you want your character to do, which, shut up, you know what I meant. And the game actually does a really good job of teaching new dungeon masters how to actually run the game. Old School Essentials limits your build to what class and what race you're picking. There aren't any subclasses, there aren't any feats that you can pick later on. If you're a spellcaster, you get to choose spells, but that's pretty much it. And in terms of GMs, as long as you know how to run 5e, which there are a million videos of on the internet, then you're pretty much set. And if you're playing Raw Morkborg, there are no builds. You just have items that your character is carrying, and that defines what you can do. And in terms of DMing, once again, there's nothing specific to it that you would need to know that you couldn't learn from a 5e video. This simplicity is kind of a double-edged sword. It makes it way easier for you to get into the system and to introduce your friends into the system, but it doesn't leave much room for the out-of-game
Go to
experience,
like literally any of my videos and just
far
click
more important
in the
for
link,
a game's
join my
popularity
Discord.
than how well the actual
You'll
game
join the
works.
server and then
Think
you can
about
add
it.
me from
We
there. You
spend
can leave the
far
server
more
if you want.
time not
Really
playing
care.
role-playing games than actually playing role-playing games. And when a game is super simple and straightforward, there isn't really that much to talk
forgot I
about when
did
you're
this
not
bit.
playing the game. You're pretty much limited to how great your sessions went and arguing that your obscure game is way better than someone else's other obscure game.
Oh,
that they
dude,
prefer
that
more.
thread is
You can't really dive
crazy.
in and discuss builds or how to run the
Oh, I
game
didn't link
because
it in the
DM
fucking
advice is kind
description.
of
I wish I could
universal.
find it again,
And
'cause that thread's
furthermore, Dungeon
unhinged.
World doesn't have an official setting, so you can't really do lore videos of that. Morkborg does have its own in-house lore, and a couple of people have tried doing videos on the subject, but there isn't much information supplied by Free League. And Old School Essentials has no campaign setting whatsoever, so you can't do lore videos for that. Furthermore, both D&D and Pathfinder are, for lack of a better term, alive. The games have updates, they have news, which once again gives people more things to talk about than just, my game's better than your game, and listen to how great my campaign is, even though you really probably don't care. I mean, people who play D&D and Pathfinder still do talk about those things. It's just, they have more things to talk about. Now, don't get me wrong. I think systems with simpler rules are far superior to Dungeons & Dragons and Pathfinder. It's just that the level of simplicity that you get from these games doesn't really help build a social infrastructure. And social infrastructure is how you grow the popularity of games. So what's the solution? Well, I have no idea. I'm not here to solve problems, and I don't even know if a lack of things to talk about outside the game is the real reason for why these games will never be more popular than D&D and Pathfinder. But I'm sure you know what the real problem is, and I'm sure you have a solution for it. So you should totally
yes,
tell me
they
what that
do,
is down
past
in
me.
the doobly-doo, as DM Jesus Matt Colville says. And then you should totally watch this video on why you should probably play a Rules Light RPG, because they're great.
Okay, so I
And
feel like
then
that's
you
fairly
can say
measured,
you're
right?
welcome, because
Like, I wasn't
thank you
saying-
so much for watching.
Wow. Like, I wasn't saying anything unhinged, I don't think. I think that was a very measured, level-headed video, and yet, holy fuck balls, it gets, like, so much hate. When you ask people to tell you what to do. Wait, fuck. I'm already blanking. I literally just watched the video. Oh, yeah, I really like this video. Thanks. It was spot on. Thanks. And it made me laugh when you ask people to tell you what to do. What do you mean to tell me what to do? I'm totally blanking. Okay. This is actually why I'm finally excited to try Rules Light RPG, because I've realized that over time my players just don't engage in those out-of-game experiences at all. They instead write more about their character's backstory, draw their characters, or just don't think about the game at all until session day. Holy fuck, yeah, it's a universal experience. As a DM, I kept looking at all those number tweaks with changes from all the different systems, trying to figure out which was the best. I kept looking at those shiny new products, thinking, that's really cool, maybe that would solve things. If my players wanted to make cooking a big part of the campaign, I would find some rules to give meals a tangible benefit to encourage them to use it. And then when they inevitably just cook anyway because they want to, I had to have to give a 5-minute explanation on cooking bonuses that they glaze over and never use because that's not what they came to the game for in the first place. All of my advice I was getting on YouTube was, here's how you can fit this into your D&D campaign. Here's a set of rules. I never took a step back to realize that including something in the campaign doesn't mean it has to have a rules baggage, and that's the case for basic things too, like spell slots, spell descriptions, initiative, opportunity attacks, etc. My players don't care about it, it just makes them confused. But I kept using it all because those were the rules. I could try other rules, but not just get rid of them entirely. That would be chaos. How would the game even work? Until I just took a step back, saw these other systems, and went, oh, they just do. The same way you do anything else in your campaign. Talk it out. I'm really excited to be switching to a rules light system so my players and me can finally be on the same page. That's what... Yeah, dude, I'm back, bro. I dropped the video yesterday. Long story of why it took me so long. A lot of, just mental block and you know how shit goes. And I'm trying to make more content. So, you know, I'm instead of responding to the comments on my last video as I got them, I am whoring it up for content, which is what I'm doing right now. That's what got me into rules like games too. All the rules baggage just slows the game down. I would watch my players' eyes glaze over. Yeah, I mean, as I like to famously say, when I was playing in Ronald's Pathfinder game, I literally bought health insurance in the middle of when it wasn't my turn because it was so fucking boring. Yeah, positively cold takes, as in to tell you in the comments how to solve the content. Oh, yeah, no, 100%. Oh, yeah, because, like, I'm one of the few people that makes content on it. Honestly, I'm having a blast with this. I think you should do this more often. I would like to. I'm glad you're enjoying it. I think it's fun. Also, it helps that, like, I haven't really been on YouTube in fucking ages, so I have so many comments to respond to. All right. Where were we? Okay. As somebody new to Pathfinder, my introduction to Geb as I'm current... cool, whatever. You get a heart. What is popular is rarely what's valuable. Alternative RPGs are more fun. Who cares if D&D has more content, more quantity, but less quality? D&D is the McDonald's of RPG. I'd rather go to a proper restaurant or home cook than consume junk. Literally not the point of the video, but that's fine. Ooh, what killed HeroScape? That's literally made my channel for it. Classic Hasbro business management, mismanagement killed it. Yikes, how they make money with this silly with it. Hard fucking agree. Hasbro is a dumpster fire of a company and the proof that capitalism doesn't work. Okay. We need to talk about Powered by the Apocalypse. I've watched 45 seconds into this video. I was on the fence about trying this system out, but what the fuck? But those comments have me sold. What they're denigrating is exactly what I'm looking for in a system. You've earned a subscriber. I'm going to try PBTA. Let's just suck myself off again. What? I forget. The other day, it finally clicked. After almost 2 years of making YouTube videos talking about RPGs that use the Powered by the Apocalypse game design philosophy. God, that was so gas. There's a lot of people that really don't like Powered by the Apocalypse. So fucking true. Soft on rules, and this sounds totally limited. Pirate Org is all the pirate you need without the dental dam required. This is what taught me what a dental dam is for blowjobs. Kids don't understand real D&D. You'll never discover the win conditions. And my personal favorite. At some point, you're not playing a game anymore. You're just playing make-believe. That's the funniest fucking comment I've ever gotten in my life. When I get comments like these, I ignore them because I am a well-adjusted citizen of the internet. Okay, I'm going to stop here just because they said the first 45 seconds. Hello! I don't know how to pronounce Joao. Joao? Gas, 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 the Eurobeat song? No, just the fucking montage thing was pretty cool. I'm just blowing myself again. Okay. Beautiful. There's a whole wide world to explore with the PBTA framework. Have fun. Fantastic. Jesus Christ. Yes. Thank you. Every time you'll discuss rulings with someone, they'll come with, hey, you shouldn't think about that. You should embrace the adventure. You should be fucking permissive. You're not approaching the game it's meant to be. This is in reference to the Paladin problem of Paladins being kind of OP in Dungeon World. Dungeon World is a great game. We love it. Paladin is broken, easily fixable with a few tweaks, and becomes a more honest class at the end. Heart. Rules like RPGs are doomed. Rule Master enters the chat. I don't know what that means. Dungeon World actually sucks. Love this video. Dungeon World actually sucks literally got me my job. I showed it to my boss, my now boss, when I was interviewing, and she was like, holy shit. Yeah, you make good stuff. And that's how I got my job. To me, Dungeon World was freedom, the way the game is built, even with the hit points and the stats pulled directly from D&D. It just allows so much so quick. You sit to build a character, you mark some boxes, and in an instance, you're ready to go with some little setbacks here and there. This game is wonderful. My one complaint is the basic move, discern realities. It just doesn't work as it's supposed to. Tried to written some times, but late in the game, we just agreed something more like defy danger with wisdom. The way discern realities is written creates kind of a stall, breaking the game flow. Well, they're redoing it. DW is awesome and we can play because we love it. Goddamn right. They can even enjoy my terribly thought out Mecha PBTA game. Oh, Lancer? Just kidding. Paladins are always the strongest on every game as they play. I play Paladins. Yeah, dude. World of Warcraft, I play Paladin. I haven't played WoW in a while, but when I do play WoW, I play Paladin. Okay, I gotta jump for a bit. I'm cat sitting for a friend. If you're still going on in about an hour, I will rejoin. Keep being amazing. Thanks, Andrew. Your presence is always welcome. Anyways, they're allegedly fixing Discern Realities with Dungeon World 2. All right. This short is so fucking stupid that I made. Pathfinder is like objectively better if you never want to play with new people and know all the rules for sure. That's fucking hilarious. Chad, tabletop enthusiast, he just wants to fight some goblins in reference to me shitting on indie RPG players caring way too much as to whether or not people play D&D. Yes, now I want to run a game for you. Who the fuck are you? Are you someone I don't know who you are. Friendly neighborhood blind guy. Very cool. Well, sick. Thanks, buddy. I'll just give you a heart. Can I get a TLDR? Bro, just watch the video. You know, I'm gonna say just that. Laugh react. Especially because we need to talk about Powered by the Apocalypse. Is like not that long of a video. I played a mage until Wrath when I went for a lark, made my first alt, which was Paladins, never went back to the point. Yeah, dude, I played Warrior until I kind of sucked at main tanking, switched to Paladin, and yeah, love Paladin ever since. I do still love Warrior. I switch between Paladin and Warrior. I don't understand why they're so upset about the price. PLA filament is like £7. Dude, that's in reference to Heroescape fans are furious. Heroescape fans, or that community is just... The real life community is fucking awesome. But fuck, that online community, they just love to complain. Spoiled by cheap prices historically. I've been building up like how shitty the comments are on that I get, but these comments really aren't that bad. The problem with most fantasy TTRPGs is they try to be an alternative to D&D, and at that point you have to ask, why not just play D&D? This is the dumbest comment I've ever seen in the history of my fucking life. Like, why play Dragon Age when Skyrim exists? Why play Oblivion when WoW exists? I've never played D&D, and I confess the system seems a bit complicated for me. Your videos are great to know about other systems out there. Well, hell yeah, dude. D&D 5e is pretty complicated. Funnily enough, the skill you're talking about missing here is one I learned playing D&D. Shoot your monks, mob your barbarian, etc. Players make their character choices because they see a fantasy in their heads of what that choice will be like. Oh, this is in reference to I failed playing A New Generation, which is a video where I talk about how every character kind of has... Like, every player has, like, sort of a fantasy that they want for their class, and then I wasn't playing into that. JP Corwin, his books have been on my list for a while. We have a winner dumbest comment ever. 100%. I don't know, JP Corwin. Why does that sound familiar? What is that in reference to? Oh! Fuck! He's an author. Oh, fuck, I've gotten Instagram ads for his fucking books. I was making a D&D alternative, but get this, I decided to turn it into an extraction game. That's fucking hilarious and awesome. Wait a second, PBTA Tarot would go so hard. All right, I'm back into TTRPG design. Okay, so these comments are kind of boring, so I'm just gonna pivot real quick, and I'm just gonna show you guys something like fucking crazy. Not fucking crazy. So I hinted at it in my last video, but I noodled with the idea of making my own RPG. I feel like every fucking tabletop role-playing game YouTuber fucking noodles with making their own RPG. And so, Sorry, I'm reading your Discord message. Wrath is me. Oh, Tarkov. FITB. Oh, wait. What's FITB? Would be good for a Tarkov. Kind of feels like that. Anyway, so I noodled with the idea of making my own tabletop role-playing game, as every fucking YouTuber has. It basically started as a bit, because I think I said in like my Discord server, I was like, something about just like, oh, make an RPG where there's literally one mechanic. It's like the dumbest mechanic ever, but then have 50 billion fucking classes. And then literally everything is just a derivative of that. So this is Super Fantasy Flavor RPG Ultimate. This entire role-playing game came about as a meme. The folks on the Discord server and I were joking about an RPG system and how some OSR games seem laughable and how simple they work. To which I said, I'm working on an RPG that has one mechanic and 15 classes. Well, frequent flyer on this channel, Fat Crepes, posted 30 AI-generated classes as part of the gag, and we both went, wait a minute, this is kind of good. Since then, the idea has spiraled in my mind. The world is full of unbelievably simple pick-up-and-play RPGs. I myself prefer these Rules Light experiences, but Rules Light sacrifices the joy of classes. Thus, this project is meant to prove that you can have an unbelievably simple core system with an absurd number of classes. I kind of abandoned this because it gradually got way more complex than I was like comfortable designing. So let's just scroll down to how to play. We'll just go through it. Whatever. SFFRPGU has what might be the world's simplest resolution system. Whenever the outcome of the action within the fiction is entirely unknown, roll the dice. Doesn't matter what kind, any dice will do as long as it has an even number of sides. If the number on the face of the die is even, that's good. If the number on the face of the die is odd, that's neutral to bad. Neutral to bad? Let me elaborate. If you roll all odd numbers on your dice, you fail. If you roll one even number on your dice, you succeed, but with a complication. If you roll 2 even numbers on your dice, you succeed. If you roll 3 or more even numbers on your dice, you critically succeed. But wait, how many dice do I roll? We call the amount of dice you roll your dice pool. Doesn't that sound cool? Your base dice pool is 3. As you progress in the game, you'll be able to add more dice to your pool. Every time you critically succeed, you get to mark XP. After accumulating a certain amount of XP as detailed on the game below, you get to level up and choose the next specialization for your class. So, anyone who's watched my videos knows that I fucking love MapleStory. You know, one of the things I love about MapleStory is the sort of class trees. And so, ultimately, yeah, it's sort of spiraled out of control. So, the way this game works is at level 1, you choose a class. You can either be a novice, a disciple, a watchman, or a delinquent. And I think, do I expand upon what each one is? Okay, yeah, so the Way of the Warrior. So you choose, so the novice is the first on the Way of the Warrior. Disciple is first on Masters of Magic, so wizards, whatever. Attacking from afar, watchman, and the bad kids, delinquent. So let's just start with, at level 1, the first person say something. We're gonna go down this. So choose one. Novice, watchman. Novice, disciple, watchman, or delinquent. Somebody choose one. First one to say something says, "Call me when you realize you have no idea what you're doing. Those were the last 3 freelance jobs I got before quitting the industry. Yeah, I have no idea what I'm doing. This could be nice. Dice size being irrelevant is odd and interesting. I also love class trees, a bit like Warhammer Fantasy." Fuck! I need to look up. It's been on my list for so long. All right, yeah, someone give me a class. There's a delay, so. Disciple. All right, well, Humble Gallipot wins. Okay, so you choose Disciple. We'll go down to that. So, magic and her practitioners to be found all over. I made up a setting, whatever. From the shamans of the Ordo tribes to the archmages of Calafia. That was the other part of the bit. So the actual mechanics of the system were supposed to be unbelievably simple and stupid, and then I would just write so much fucking lore that like doesn't even matter. And it's all, the whole thing is a bit. So you go to so you start as level 1, you're a disciple. You're going on adventures, whatever. As a disciple, you get 2 like abilities. Foundations of Magic, so you can cast basic magic spells like And when you do cast a basic magic spell, you add 1 die to the pool. Then there's Thirst for Knowledge. Whenever a disciple, I guess apprentice was the old name, seeks out knowledge of anything via research, add 1 die to the pool. That's literally how everything in the game sort of works. But, well, initially. Then it spiraled out of control. So you're playing as a disciple. Great, sick, tight. And then you level up. So let's go back to classes. So as a disciple at level 2, you get to choose. Do you choose to be a wizard or a cleric? Go back to say the difference. So a wizard is wizardy, and a cleric is priesty, clericy, healy. So choose. First person to say disciple or cleric. Someone choose. Motherfucker, martial artist. Aha! Thank you, Joao. Joao picked cleric. Humboldt, you got us to this. Anyway, so we go to cleric. So as a cleric, you get many of those who walk the magical path, choose life of scholarship and general physical weakness, not for such silly pursuits of power, but to actually help people. Oh yeah, and then all the lore was going to be kind of satirical because this whole project is ridiculous. So clerics get divine guidance, so they may reach out to whatever gods they believe in, ask for their wisdom when the gods and their advice is real, doesn't matter, whatever. What does that the cleric gets to add 1 die to the pool when acting on the advice of their deity. They also get basic healing. Granted, they aren't very fine-tuned, therefore not the best. Clerics may roll to remove a failure from themselves on any of their teammates. Upon critical success, they succeed. However, they fail if it's shared with their target, whatever. The way that like damage was going to work is every time you fail, it's basically like a wound. But yeah, that's the least exciting part. The thing I was most hyped about was just the class tree, and then I was like, wait a minute, how does this game actually fucking work? Dude, it's subclasses on subclasses on subclasses. So you're level 2, you're a cleric, you get these 2 abilities on top of the abilities that you have as a base disciple. And then from there, we'll go back to classes. So you hit level 3. Then as a cleric, you get to choose. Are you going to be a priest or a war priest? I will let you guys pick. So they share a common spell / abilities pool or something like that. Oh, priest is the way to go. So the way that it works is it builds upon itself. So like you get to keep everything from disciple, and then you add on the cleric moves. And then since we went with priest, you add the priest moves of holy aura. The devotion of a man or woman of God can often inspire those around them. When a priest critically succeeds on a magical related roll, they inspire their teammates around them, allowing said teammates to add 1 die to their roll. As long as the priest continues to critically or fully succeed on their rolls, upon failure or partial success, the inspiration ceases. And then there's divine intervention. When a priest finds themselves in a seemingly insurmountable bind, they may call upon their deity for divine intervention. When they do whatever, you can fucking read it. And then they get to add that, and then they level up again. And then when you level up again, and I haven't written the moves for, I didn't get that far, but then you can choose between being, so you choose priest, so then you can choose between shadow priest or chaplain, and we have little blurbs that say what the class is meant to be. So like the priest is the more magic-based cleric, and then the shadow priest, offense-oriented, taps into evil, smite foes, or the chaplain, heal-oriented, use the light to aid allies. And then shadow priests can, when they level up to level 5, can spec into Fatebinder, weaves prophecies that control the future of those around them, or Soulbreaker tears the soul from the body. Chaplain can go to bishop, buffs allies, or Soulmender heals allies from their worst afflictions. And yeah, it just keeps building upon itself. And but then the problem is I feel like the base of the game sort of crumbled. And I had some pals from the Discord like help me out with it, and I was like, fuck, I feel like the foundation of this whole thing is kind of ass. But yeah, that's my absolutely ridiculous unfinished RPG that has never gone into testing. Maybe it will someday. I would have to finish the classes and figure shit out. But yeah, that's how it goes. That's my silly RPG that if I ever finish it, Shadow Priest, you nerd. Obviously Shadow Priest, dude. Duh. That if I ever finish it would be the funniest thing ever, as it is stupidly mechanical simple, but has way too much flavor and lore. Indeed. In Triangle Agency of a D64 dice pool, and your abilities have behave differently depending on the number of 3s you get. That's kind of cool. I see the potential. Well, thanks, man. Maybe I will go back into developing it. Who knows? Let's go until I'm going to go directly to Rules Light RPGs or Doom. We'll just go through here to see people shit on me for a little bit. And then I'll probably get off because my jaw is fucking tired from talking. For me, neither group works. The light systems are too Fisher-Price, the kids-safe version of a real game, but D&D isn't the grown-up version. It's just a bloated mess of loopholes and patches. D&D is a classic case of a rule of cool overriding good design. Instead of creating a base set of mechanics and designing around that, they come up with spells/skills that sound like fun. How ironic. We're just talking about a system that's built around cool shit, and then figure out how to nerf them so they're balanced with all the existing spell/skills. For example, the sharpshooter feat is just bonkers, and -5 to hit penalty is the literal opposite of what a sharpshooter means, but they had to penalize you for getting an extra 10 points of damage when you do hit, so taking that feat forces you to take other feats and bonuses to counter the -5 penalty and get the real bonus. What it should be, actually, is a bonus to the attack roll on any turn where your character does... whatever, I don't fucking care. Basically, most of the D&D content is driven not by the amount of rules, but the incoherence of the rules. You can make an hour-long build videos because it takes that much time to explain the trade-offs and synergies of neutral things. I disagree with your take on Rules Light, but I'm glad you got the point of the video. Rules Light RPGs or Doom is like my most popular video, and people just love shitting on me for it. I'll read my class system. It's only fire. I read yours. Okay, fine. I don't care about Legend of the Mist. I'm sorry. I've not finished reading Sword World, though. That's new. Martial Artist. Let me find the names for my starting classes. As a mage main, I picked the one that sounds closest to mage. Hell yeah. Love spellcasters, too. Martial Artist. Martial Artist, Ranger, Scholar, Rogue, Soldier, Artisan, Disciple. That's kind of like Warhammer Fantasy RPG, I think. Right? Or the Witcher RPG. Witcher RPG's gas. 3 options for specialist classes, then 2 for advanced classes. LOL 10+, you can take levels in prestige classes. Ooh, that's cool. I love prestige classes in like Dungeon World. That whole concept is so fucking baller. Oh fuck, Sean just joined, so now I gotta stay on. Yes, what D&D needs more excuses to have archers stand still. Sean, I was just talking about because you helped on the project, the aka Swing Ripper for those of you at home. I was just talking about working title Super Fantasy Flavor RPG Ultimate, which was the system that you were helping me work on. But now we're going back to more shitty comments. Have you been in the OSR community? There's so much content being produced for them. I don't know why I hearted that. The XD6 system, not even XD6, X any die with the massive branch class system. As a tree, by the way, each of those options treats 3 specialists. Oh, yeah, dude. Okay, now you have to tell me what your game is so that I can look it up and rave about it, because that sounds sick. One of them, 2... I know, LOL, I wrote some of it. Yes, you did. So much content that like 5,000 people watch. I know, I'm being catty. That's so fucking funny. Hey now. Hey now. Only 4,000 people watch my video, you douche. Yeah, all this is saying is because Hasbro spends more money in marketing and releasing booster packs to keep the gameplay relevant. Sorry, there are far more interesting systems out there. This video is simp. Did you miss the part where I said I prefer rules light systems? God, nobody watches the whole fucking video. They're doomed because they don't have YouTube slop content reiterating what their books say. The thing that is fun about being a DM is building your own world. If you're playing according to an adventure book, you're barely even DMing. They won't pull ahead meaningfully in terms of market share because there aren't as many people talking about it. D&D's flaws demand content be made for it, which spreads the names and ideas of the game, which gets more eyeballs on the game. Dungeon Slime, you said you don't make content. Are you lying to me? I will fucking react to you right now, you harlot. I will... All 15 viewers on this stream will watch your shit. I'll make them. They can leave at any time they'd like, though. Wait, it's Dungeon Slime, right? Yeah, Dungeon Slime. All right. All right, you harlot. You harpy. I've got you in the other window. Go to channel. There we go. 134 subs. Fuck. Okay, your videos are really long. I might not be able to fully... Oh, you do a solo actual plays. Oh, fuck, dude. That's cool as hell. I'm going to pull up one of your shorter videos. Let me finish this comment, and then you're getting reacted to. As I stated in the video, I prefer rules light systems. I think they're better than 5e. And I would like more people to play them. Hence why I made this video, which nobody seems to get because they're fucking idiots. All right. Dungeon Slime. You're getting reacted to, bitch boy. You're not a bitch boy. I'm sure you're a perfectly nice person.
Greetings. So, see quite often people asking what kind of TTRPG should I start off playing? Like, what's good for new players?
Check the audio levels.
And I often think, well, there's going to be a reason why you're coming into the TTRPG scene. There's going to be a reason why you thought, wow, I want to play a TTRPG. And I find often the reason for that, and for me, often the reason why
all your other videos are like
sit down and want to play
way too long.
That I've seen something or read something.
I will go to your channel. Ooh. Tell me, what are we reacting to? Oh, it's not done. I just thought it was funny that you also have an unfinished project with a very similar tree system. Don't we all? Who doesn't? Mine was D20 based, and I decided I would try to publish it as a player's handbook alternative for D&D. Good luck. Me, when I'm in elitism content, my opponent is Lord of Flies. I'm such a harlot. Ardenville solo legend. This will be background at work content for the next few months now. Oh, we're all on your shit. Ha 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 ha. Be known, I am zero effort person. I just post to make sure I don't procrastinate too much. Firing X D&D feature, how to make X less boring is most of the popular. Yeah, exactly. And then it gets D&D out there. More people like learn about it, and then they're like, oh, that looks cool. None of them. LOL. Well, you know what? More Shadow Dark. Ooh, testing a bit of Shadow Dark solo. That sounds kind of interesting. That might be some good. Okay, I'll do the first 2 minutes.
Well, here we go. Once again, back into the domain of not really doing anything. How you doing, people? You having fun?
Okay, you're in luck because
Today.
I can't hear a single word you're saying. Oh shit, I went full
Playing
screen.
some Shadow Dark. Now.
You have a very soothing voice. Keep make some stuff. Check your levels. Good things. Good things. All right. Okay, wait. Pick a game. I'll do one more comment. Oh, wow, so quiet. Yeah, dude. I had my volume blasting. Check your levels, brother. You already have an unbelievably pleasant voice, so I think you could do really well. Anyway. Pick a game, any game, whether it's Old School Essentials, Morkborg, or Shadow Dark. Travel back in time to 1970, publish and actively promote that game. Return to today. D&D will be a niche-only RPG aficionados have ever heard before. Why? First mover advantage. Dungeons & Dragons have a 50-year head start that will take decades for other games to overcome. Yes and no, but I'm just going to heart it for now because you weren't being a douche. They're called beer and peanuts games in my neck of the woods. Sure, they're fun and you like them, but there's no substance to them. You wouldn't want that to be all you had all day. A good time with your friends, but nothing you'd call memorable. I would disagree. I think you can have time with games, but I get what you're... Well, my computer, it all sounds perfectly loud enough. True on the pleasant voice. Fixable stuff. It is fixable stuff. If you have something like DaVinci Resolve, you can up those audio levels in post. So, Dungeon Slam, you want to be looking at... this is going to be a little fucky. Here's my OSE. So, you see here, this is your audio levels. You want to typically keep it like between -9 and -3. So, you'll have audio levels in whatever your video editing software is, or at least you should. And then, it's not going to be decades. It's going to be months at this point. I'm curious, why do you say that, Dice Tales? That it's going to be months. Because I'm not entirely sure. Oh, fuck. I'm not entirely sure I agree with you on that, but I want to hear your opinion. I'm just going to be reacting to just fucking comments while I'm so curious as to D&D has so much brand inertia. 100%. The thing TTRPGs do that nothing else does is immersion. As long as you have enough mechanics to create immersive roleplay, you don't need anything else. I agree. I love the fantasy trip, but the publisher is incapable of producing a single quality video about the game or something that makes the lore a lot less generic. Marketing is important. These are comments from like 4 months ago. This is so funny. D&D is already tanked. If you look at the levels being raised by Kickstarters, you can see there's real commitment to spend money on alternatives. I'm not saying you're wrong. I just think it's still such a small portion, and like the zeitgeist is still all D&D all the time. I think that the current D&D players will gradually disperse into other systems over the next few years. New players will still go to D&D as that's the big filter. I agree. I think we're seeing more and more people trying out new systems, other systems, which is good, but I still think D&D is still going to be the first stopping point. Part of the problem is the logistics of finding a game. If I want to play and fail at starting a game against my friends, I have quite a few scattered around, but whatever. I'd probably have to look on Meetup or something to find a game open to the public. Agree. This would most likely be D&D or one of the other big titles, maybe playing at a bookstore or comic store. Agree. Ironically, rules like games, if they ever took off, would largely solve this problem. They're simple, cheap, starting is low commitment. Agree. A friend could say, hey, you guys want to try something fun? It's on. It's literally less of a pain in the ass if you don't care for it or aren't sure than committing game of Risk or Monopoly. Agree. It seems these systems are objectively better at creating the kind of fast-paced imaginative adventure that everyone envies when they watch Stranger Things and see. Yeah, agree on all counts. Agreed on all counts. Another thing is the big powerful companies have convinced people they need infinite supplementary material and or create a commodity fetish situation where it just wouldn't feel right if the gamers weren't tied to an extreme level of consumption. Agreed on all counts. Okay, I'm tired of responding to comments, so we'll talk with El Chatters, and then I'm probably gonna... You know what, we'll go for an even 3 hours. I'll hang out for 14 more minutes. Just chatting, as they say. I guess I should pull my window over here. Okay. Oh crap, I kind of have to go to the bathroom. I think that the current D&D player... I already responded to that. I think for already immersed people, they are leaving. Brand new people are probably going to continue. I agree. I'm hoping Critical Role uses Daggerheart for their fantasy games. I think they're going to. It only makes sense that they do that because it's, you know, their own in-house game. However, I think Daggerheart is kind of a fucking mess, and I don't like it. D&D has brand new show amongst people who don't actually spend money on role-playing games. Look past the sizzle, look on the balance sheets, and you'll see the real truth. What show is that? It's always been a niche hobby. I mean, role-playing games have always been a niche hobby, but D&D has always been, like, the king of the niche hobby. Like, yeah, I mean, I've said this before plenty of times on videos. As someone who can't get any in-person groups to try anything other than D&D 5e, I don't foresee it being dethroned anytime soon. I'm really tempted to, I've said this before, but I'll say it again. I'm really tempted to go to my FLGS and see if I can get them to... and try to host like a Dungeon World game or something like that and see what happens. If you look at just the balance sheets, D&D is still massive, just the third-party space is less cash flow. Ooh, yeah, I had to bounce around, probably less of a problem on the more recent stuff. Yeah, probably. I'll take a look at it later. Yeah, strict rules works to keep people buying rule expansions, 100%. Don't you need a bathtub to be just chatting? Surprisingly, nobody wants to buy my dirty bathwater. It's so fucking weird. Dude, I love just this. All you could hear is my fan in the background. Oh no, I'm losing concurrent viewers. Well, because the stream is dying down. Now we're just hanging out. We're chatting. Just having a good time. I could just fire up MapleStory and just turn this into a MapleStory stream. I recently downloaded the next update, or like the latest update. And like the thing about MapleStory is it's such just like brainless content. I don't think the goal should be dethroning, but reducing the marketing share and encouraging competition. Man, that Bathwater era, dude, I know. Yeah, I mean, I don't think anything is going to dethrone it. Simply because of, you know, what we talked about. But yeah, it's just making people aware that there is other shit out there to be played. You know, and like a lot of it is really good and, you know, should have some attention. My days. Oop, shit, just spilled water all over myself. Oh, what's that music you hear? It's more about finding a niche and serving it well. Hard agree. I thought MapleStory was finished. Dude, MapleStory has been... It's kind of like WoW when people are like, I miss WoW. Dude, WoW still exists. Like, you could still play. I'm not super into MapleStory because, ironically, like, what that one guy was saying about rules light systems, it's so, like, bare bones. I mean, you'll see. It's like... how... Oh, fuck. It's like so absurdly simple that like, you know, you can't really, I don't know. There are people who like take it seriously and like, I know there's elements to it, but like this is the entire game. Just doing this. I mean, there's like quests and stuff and like, I think it's really funny because the quest area that I'm doing is like super self-aware, which I think is hilarious. Because it's like, kill 500 of these things before you can move on to the next area. And then your character's like, bro, are you fucking serious? Like, again, I'm level 172. I've been doing this for ages. If Hasbro outsources content creation, then it could save D&D even at this late. I mean... Well, OGL scandal, as we all know, kind of fucked that. I'm curious, what do you mean by if they outsourced making content? Because, I mean, people still make so much third-party content for it. Even with the OGL scandal, I think. Like, I get fucking Instagram ads because Mark Zuckerberg's like, oh, you play D&D? Then I'm just going to show you everything. Or you play RPGs? I'm going to show you everything related to D&D ever. Which... Wait... and a niche that you're passionate about. It's why my first thing I ever bothered publishing was a mecha game. What's your mecha game? I think mechas are cool. I have a couple Gundams. I think Gundam is pretty tight. Agreed about encouraging other games at Humble. I know MapleStory is still a thing because I'm into Hololive, and it's the one thing. Oh shit! And it's the one thing I'm obsessed with. Fuck! I'm like reading chat and getting murked. Potions. I love how when I started playing MapleStory, the fucking concurrent viewers goes up again. That's so funny. We're done reacting to comments now. I'm just playing MapleStory while I finish out for a clean 3 hours. Maybe we'll go longer. Who knows? You let me in now, right? Not so fast. You did good, but I got more work for you. Classic MapleStory quest. And they fucking are so self-aware. It's so funny. Ooh, the general wants to see me. The Forest of Sorrows. Fuck. Hasbro has pretty much fired all the creatives. I agree. I think their current idea is to use AI. That is their current idea. But if that doesn't work well, and it probably won't, the next logical step is to outsource content creation. I could see that. That's fucking hilarious. I didn't know you streamed Ultra Kill. That keeps the brand valuable, and they have said over and over about merchandising the brand, not the game. No, 100%. It's all about the brand. Like, yeah, they clearly don't really give a shit about the game. Oh, whoops, wrong way. They're starting to host third-party content on D&D Beyond. Really? And there's a Lord of the Rings supplement. That's super interesting. I had no idea. But I'm also not keeping up. That makes sense they would do a Lord of the Rings, because didn't Magic the Gathering do a Lord of the Rings thing? I don't know. Like, Hasbro... The Hasbro implosion is just such a classic case of, like, where... I'm going to get slightly political here, I'm sorry. But it's, like, such a classic case of, like, why... our current rendition of capitalism is just so fucked, because like all these executives can think of is the next quarter, like the next quarterly earnings to try and increase shareholder value. So they're just sacrificing any sort of long-term health of the company and good faith and amongst the people who will buy their stuff. They're just sacrificing all of that to just try and squeeze out like a little bit more shareholder value. It's just so fucked. Your stuff is too low level for me. I was playing the level that is literally just Crash Bandicoot. Dude, Crash Bandicoot's awesome, though. They're starting to host third-party content for D&D Beyond. Hello, Kevin Beckman. How are you? Long time no see. I'm down to 9 viewers. Nobody gives a shit about MapleStory. Mecha World, of course. All right, I'm pulling it up. Mecha World by Legion Zero. Gee, I wonder what your inspiration was. High octane mecha on mecha action on alien fun shows like Gundam, Macross. Okay. Mechas are pretty fucking cool. I might check it out. I say that about everything. I'm trying to be realistic. D&D is too massive to fall, or was forever the widely unpopular 4E, which made Pathfinder a thing. Still wasn't enough to outsell 4E, so I don't know if ever anything will outsell it. Right when I tune in and you're just talking stocks, I like it. Miss you on KSI. Dude, just work the morning shift. It's that simple. That's when I go in. Also, well, you don't work for them anymore, but LOL, I'm dumb. No editor, no effort, don't pay for it. That's funny. That's totally fine, though. I'm anticipating they're going to use AI for Spider-Man debacle. No, 100%. Dude, the AI slop era of Wizards of the Coast is for sure coming. Did they pay for like 3 or 4 months of drive-through RPG purchases? That's fine. Hey, man, you know what? You broke even. That's all that matters. Hasbro's vintage vulture capital. Everyone realizes this needs to be regulated, but there's so much money behind it. It's hard to get Congress to do anything. Vintage vulture capital. Interesting. Yeah, they plan to put Optimus Prime in the official D&D virtual tabletop. That's insane. Did though. Good gravy. Pathfinder 2 to be D&D 5.5, and I was profoundly disappointed. Why were you... Is it not D&D 5.5? I mean, it, like, to me, to my dumbass, emphasis on stupid, it's... I mean, when I ran it, it was basically 5e for me with just a few more rules and, like, the 3-action economy. These quests are so fucking stupid.
Oh, right.
I have my volume super low. I mean, I'm not from Arif, but oh, what? Interesting. Went back in time. Bye, Kevin. I'm happy PF2E is not D&D 5.5 for the record. Biased. Yes, you are, because you make Pathfinder content. Cool. In the way that Pathfinder was just D&D 3.5.5. That's funny. I think they wouldn't have recovered from the OGL scandal if YouTubers continued putting heat on them. Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit disappointing that, like, oh, fuck. It's definitely a little bit disappointing that, especially the D&D YouTubers who have, like, influence didn't really put that much heat on them. You know, yeah, I mean, it's like a tough situation. I can't really talk because I don't really have that much influence. But yeah, I mean, it would have been nice, like, especially it seemed like so many people, especially people that, like, I'm loosely affiliated with, were, you know, going to leave. And then, I mean, I get it, because most normal people, for lack of a better term, like, just don't give a shit. And when you are a professional content creator, like, you have to make what people watch. And, like, everyone likes to blame the algorithm, but the algorithm is basically just what people want to watch. You know, and people want to watch D&D content. They don't want to watch Pathfinder content, because they ultimately, the general populace doesn't give a shit about Pathfinder. Oh, fuck, I have to pee again. Be right back. Because this is good conversation. I'm not going to end it yet. All right, I'm back. Okay, wait, let's catch up. Okay. PF2E has a very different way of approaching combats and adventuring days. I also don't blame the creators, as everyone has to chase their own bag for their own families. It's easy to say they should have just taken a stand, but, like, versus a toy company. 100%, I totally agree with that. Like, it's not that, like, ethical consumption under capitalism, 100%, and ultimately there's, like, more important shit. Like, it's just ultimate at the end of the day. Yes, there's a lot of, like, ethical considerations. What Wizards of the Coast is doing is very unethical, But yeah, like you said, ultimately it's a fucking toy company. And like TTRPGs aren't that serious. They're not serious to the point where you should sacrifice your ability to provide for yourself and for your loved ones if you have to, for that. I mean, I guess if it mattered that much to you, then you quit and then get another job. But like, I don't know, every fucking organization and profession has there's a dark side to everything. Would the moral thing be to let them rot? I mean, sure, but can you justify that when you have thousands and thousands of dollars on the line? You need that income, 100%. Yeah, it's not the algorithm's fault. It's what people want to see. You know what? PF2E is most like fatal. It's an inevitability of how stuff works under capitalism, 100%. I have to admit, I've been amused listening to all the 5e YouTubers pivot to now or a tabletop role-playing pivot to or a tabletop role-playing game YouTube channel. God damn it, Sean. Swing Rippers on grappling again. The OGL situation showed them how much influence that content creators have on a brand's reputation. The YouTubers tanked their revenue for a minute. Yeah, for like 1 quarter, and then people forgot and moved on, unfortunately. Yeah, it's not wrong to enjoy or post D&D content. 100% agree. I think people overestimate how much ordinary RPG players, DMs engage with on online content. 100,000 fucking percent. Kai87, you win the thread. I've been saying that for a fucking minute. Like, most people don't give a shit, unfortunately. And it's like, they're not wrong. And I always use the vacuum cleaner analogy. I'm not even reading the quest text. I don't care that much. I always use the vacuum cleaner analogy because it's like, do you know what brand vacuum cleaner you have? Like, probably not. Most people just do not give that much of a shit about their vacuums. I know it's heartbreaking, especially for vacuum cleaner enthusiasts. But like most people who play like D&D/RPGs, like do not give a shit. Like, they don't care that much. They go to, talking funny voices with their friends for 3 hours. Oh, fuck. Hello. Big bad monsters. And they want to talk in funny voices with their friends for 3 hours. And D&D is the popular thing that everybody knows. So, like, and they don't care enough to go, look up other things because they have other interests and other hobbies. And, like, their apathy towards the tabletop role-playing game, hobby or whatever isn't, like, some personal failing. It's just, this straw man is a well-rounded individual. Not saying that people who are super into, RPGs aren't, but, they have other hobbies. And, maybe they get worked up because, like, for example, do you give a shit about, like, the Anaheim Ducks hiring Dan Quenneville, who was responsible for there was a huge sexual assault scandal that happened on the Chicago Blackhawks under him, where like players were literally getting hee-hawed by fucking trainers, and he just kind of let it happen. Like, why aren't you talking about that? Or what I mean? Like, maybe they get fired up about that, but they don't give a shit about Wizards of the Coast like being unethical as fuck. Like, people only have a capacity to get outraged over so many things, and different things are important to different people, which crazy concept, I know. And like, if you're in this this stream, you presumably care about tabletop role-playing games, or you really like MapleStory. Oh fuck! Oh, that was so close. And so yeah, it's not like a moral failing of someone to not care. That's the moral of the story. Yeah, true, Dyson. Oh, you're a fucking Nazi for supporting Dyson. I'm just kidding. I don't know that much about vacuums. Yeah, my opinion, backed by my analytics, is on average you have 2 very engaged people at the table, the GM and 1 player. 100%. I mean, yeah, dude, most people just do not care. That's the moral of the story. Sadly, those with bigger numbers have the ability to say what is or isn't moral. Yeah, that's true. It's the way that it works. I saw a thing that said, like, and you know, maybe this sounds very, I don't know, fucking Jordan, whatever his name, Jordan. It's not really Jordan Peterson pilled, but like, we do live in the 21st century. Let me just. In the 21st century, man, like, attention really is sort of the greatest currency that anyone could like have, because it has influence or whatever. And that just affects so many things, and now it's so easy for anyone to have access to it. Look at that. We're just talking about everything. You know what we're not talking about? Dungeon World 2, which is probably why people clicked on this stream. But it's fine. Having a good time. Just grinding out this quest. Just killing corrupted basic mages. I'm still angry about the Black Sox scandal. What's the Black Sox scandal? I deem this whole stream immoral as my subscriber number is larger. Wait, really? Did Little Seanward surpass me? That's not surprising. Pathfinder's way more popular than the shit that I talk about. Also, you probably just post way more. Oh, look at you. Barely. Oh, man, I got to get on my shit. Yeah, you also don't go months without making content. That probably helps. The problem with reading Start is that you have to read philosophy. And as someone who has tried to read essays on philosophy, it is so hard. Yeah, I like just hit 6K with the release of this video, but you know what? Now the game's on. Now it's a competition. Fuck, I have to make more videos so I can beat you. I mean, DW is why I click, but now I'm just here to chill. So actually, hold up. I need to send a message. Cuz since Swing Ripper is here, Swing Ripper had spicy Dungeon World 2 takes. Then go read someone with good prose like Marx or Engels, huh, based. Yeah, but they're communists. I'm just kidding. I'll never be able to get over the fact that they released MechWarrior 5 clans instead of giving them MechWarrior 5 Merc defense against the clan invasion. I have no idea what that means. You fool, I've gone months, including right now, as I've been getting my engineering degree and dealing with midterms. That is fair. I saw one when I was working for the video. Oh, holy shit, I had 1 HP left. Did you see that? Oh, fuck yeah, I completed the quest. Hooray. I totally lost my train of thought. Fuck. Just mindlessly killing these. God, Maple Story's so mindless. It's so tight. Oh, fuck. Okay. Hell yeah. Okay, so we got a little treat. We're going back to the remedy. Wait, that's stupid. Quitting Maple Story. Let's get back on topic here, because I'm bringing on a special guest to the show. We got. There he is. It's the man himself. He goes from being in chat to being on the program. Sean, welcome to the program.
All right. I'm glad to be here. And OBS is going to fight your camera, so I'm not going to see you in Discord, but I'm going to still have the stream open.
It's totally
so I can
fine.
one-guy people in chat as you're fighting monsters.
Well, I know. I quit Maple Story so that we can talk. And the reason why I brought you on the program, for those of you at home, is you totally contradicted my views. I love how I lost so many viewers when I did that.
Yeah.
So you have very spicy takes when it comes to Dungeon World 2, and I want to hear them.
Yeah, so, like, basically my take is, it's not going to be the same as Dungeon World 1. We all know that. That's, like, just factually how it is. So, my thoughts are that currently Dungeon World 1 is my favorite PBTA system. That's just how it is. And currently, with the steps they're making in Dungeon World 2 of just cleaning up a lot of those rough edges, and in terms of like how they're making things flow better once you're in play, I think that Dungeon World 2 may become my favorite PBTA game if they continue along this path and don't like blow it up halfway through, because that can happen.
Now the question is why?
Well, I mean, you look at what they're doing with moves and how they're saying that they don't want to have moves where the situation is repeated from before. And they mentioned with their like attacking move, they are going to avoid having it have a do nothing scenario. Where I do kind of see what they mean, because I just got out like today. Like the reason I didn't join till 2 was because I was teaching people how to play Dungeon World for an event for my school.
That's hype.
Which will happen next week. So I was just like teaching 3 people at GM Dungeon World, and they end up falling into the exact traps that they said they were designing to avoid.
Right.
Because like those are very natural things to fall into.
I was about to say those traps of being where you roll for a move and then you end up in kind of the same exact scenario that you were in beforehand.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. I think that's something that you kind of have to... With Dungeon Slut says, I agree with this giant Pikachu and Blaha owning person.
Okay, that Pikachu is actually way bigger than you think it is. Let me go and grab it. Oh, dude, also the camera will track me.
Your webcam is like... Oh, fuck, he can't hear me anymore. So, so 2 things.
Right,
one, I like that you have a bottle of hot sauce on your dresser.
Yeah.
2, astute viewers may recognize that microphone that Sean is speaking into, as it used to be mine, and I gave it to him once. Well, he bought
that is true.
He bought me
that
2
mic,
video games in exchange.
That mic also did break down, so this is the same model, just as a replacement.
Motherfucker.
Yeah. I do own his old mic. It's still in one of the boxes right over there.
There we go.
Because like I don't know what to do with it, but it's like right there in one of the boxes.
If I ever somehow just make it and you just want to make some money, I'm sure someone would buy it.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm getting to Lulu. Anyways, so yeah, I definitely think that's a problem, especially for people who aren't familiar with PBTA GMing and stuff like that, where you can like... Sometimes I fall into the trap of it where I get into like D&D slugfests, basically. With like it's just hack and slash, and the fiction doesn't really like change at all. So yeah, elaborate on that.
And so the big thing that they noticed is like the situation that happened is we were fighting a troll in a cavern and the ceiling fell down. And there was like this whole thing of, okay, we need to pull people out of here, we're trying to do damage. And so like 5 moves, 5 die rolls happened, and the fundamental situation did not really evolve.
Mm-hmm.
And then at the end, we had like a fight against a witch that was able to fly around on a broomstick. And there were like several things where the GM kind of got caught on, well, how do I arbitrate the partial success here?
Right.
Because like, it's like, okay, well, you're grabbed on, but you're not grabbed on that well, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just a bunch of things like that.
And then, yeah, and then ultimately you're kind of left at the, like, what I find, especially when I first started GMing Dungeon World, is you get into these situations where it's basically like you're just kind of pulling narrative shit out of your ass, but ultimately it's just roll hack and slash. Okay, so then this happens, roll hack and slash. Okay, so this happens, roll hack and slash, and then nothing really changes. And I think it's important.
And then you're basically playing 5e,
yeah. And so I think it's important to, and the GM section doesn't really address that either. And so it's important, like, people don't realize that every hack and slash roll that you do isn't supposed to be, oh, you're chipping away health points. It's supposed to significantly change what's going on. And I really, dude, partial successes can be hard to arbitrate on the fly. I really liked what they were doing with the fighting. With the, I mean, we can just talk about it right now if you want.
We absolutely can, yeah.
Why am I saying if you want? You're on my show.
I'm on your show. Like, you're the host.
Yeah.
Go. Tell me what we're talking about.
Yeah, bitch. No. So the new hack and sorry, that's the old hack and slash. So instead of hack and slash and volley, they just changed it to fight, which is when you attack a threat up close or at a distance, roll plus forceful. Boo, old names, boo. On a 10 plus, choose 2 from the list below. On a 7 through 9, only 1. You avoid their retaliation. You exhaust, distract, or intimidate them. Add 1 kinship to the pool. You take something from them. If it makes sense in the fiction, you hurt them. They mark a condition and can escalate. If you've already hurt them, you inflict terrible harm. They mark another condition, but don't escalate again. What are your thoughts on that?
I think that, to me, feels better. Because in that game that we were playing against that witch, a lot of people are trying to like grab the witch to stop her ability to cast spells.
Yeah.
And so having a move that directly said, this is the move that you trigger in order to stop them from casting a spell.
Mm-hmm.
And then having that be like, you take away their ability to cast spell.
Yep.
And then having that be more like built in to this is the move that you point at, so you're not relying on something like defy danger nearly as much. Because I feel like that's a pretty common scenario. There's a caster trying to do a spell, let me take away their ability to cast a spell.
Yep.
And if you, in the book, have defined, take away something's ability to be defined as it can also be more abstract. Take away their footing, take away something. I think that you can really start doing more interesting things and having fights evolve naturally.
Yep. I agree.
And I think that on 10 plus, like the very easy like thing for that they're probably gonna change it to is on a 10 plus you can pick 2 or pick 1 and not take return damage.
Right. Well, yeah.
Or maybe it will be you pick 1 on a partial. It could be like you pick 1, or you pick 2 and the opponent picks 1.
Right. Oh, that's pretty interesting. We talked about doing that, I think, when we were noodling with our own idea of Dungeon World 2 in my Discord server. And I like how the way that it's phrased kind of incentivizes DMs to not go into just hack and slash slug battle. And, you know, I mean, as I think Spencer wrote it, makes combat interesting, dynamic without causing choice paralysis. Like every single one of these things will have an effect on the fiction, I think.
Yes.
And, you know, make something like different. And so, yeah, I think it's really cool. Also, yes, that is correct, Dice Tales. You did hear that correctly. Kinship, which I don't think it's in this article, but I want to say kinship is the new version of bonds that they're doing. We could probably talk about it more once like the alpha is dropped. But then it goes on to NPC conditions and escalations. And one of the things I think that they're doing, and I'm probably going to make a dedicated video about this, because I actually really do like what they're doing with fighting and whatnot in this new version, is how they're doing monsters and stuff. So I'll just read from the example. So they have Giant Dragon. Through overwhelming force and brutal cunning, this creature's effects on the greater world have echoed for centuries. Cool, whatever. It has the appearance, cool. The drive, cool. This is all familiar to us. Resources, which is basically how it can fuck you up. Resists. I like the inclusion of resists. I like this sort of fictional with resources and resists rather than like explicitly being like, it has claws that can do 1d6 damage to you. It's sort of, it makes sense of it has enormous teeth and claws, razor tail spikes, incinerating fire. It inspires you to get fucked up by this thing. And then it has its own conditions. So afraid, escape to, and own conditions and ways that it escalates. So it says in the fight move that if you hurt them, they mark a condition and escalate. And I think Masks fucks this up, and I think this is a great way to improve on Masks design. Because oftentimes in Mask, you inflict, you know, whatever, and then you're like, fuck, what do I do? And there's like a series of like generic escalations, but I like how go ahead.
Yeah, you have the generic escalation, you have your villain moves, and they aren't paired up.
Yeah. Yep, 100%. And it's just kind of weird. And also, when you're in the moment and you're GMing, you know, you're like,
oh, excuse me. Wait a minute. Let me just flip to my villain move section so I can see.
Let me go check the book. Let me go check my prep work. No, what do I do? What do I do?
I just shit my pants.
I totally agree. I'm 100% agreeing.
Whereas with this, with the stat block, it's like, oh, okay, cool. A condition's marked. Let's mark Furious. All right, now ignite everything in the scene. Like immediate, it's quick, it makes sense for a giant dragon. I think it's really good design. Also, I don't know how you haven't noticed Doggo or Kato either, because they've been here the entire time. But yeah, your thoughts, Sean?
Other things that annoyed me about Masks gameplay-wise is I actually did find directly engage a threat did cause analysis paralysis when somebody got too high of a roll that they were expecting.
Yeah.
Because, like, usually if you're directly engaging a threat, you have something you want to get out of it.
Right.
And they know what they want to pick there. And then, like, the second one tends to be, like, if they're just planning to hit somebody really hard.
Yep.
There's sometimes an analysis process of picking that second option.
Yep. Hard agree.
And so I think that the current version of the Dungeon World 2 move, like that, they're going to change that there isn't a do nothing mode.
For sure.
You can do damage and take no damage in return. And that is both your options checked.
Yep.
So I think that will make it flow better in that scenario, because that is actually a real stalling point that I saw in Masks.
Yeah, we're still here. So, Andrew, we're actually now talking about Dungeon World 2. We're back on topic. Because Sean thinks Dungeon World 2 is going to be the best Powered by the Apocalypse game he's ever played, and I think he's wrong.
It's on pace to do so if they don't mess it up.
Right, if they don't fuck it up. And now we've entered full-on podcast mode. Hell
and
yeah.
I also said my favorite, not the best. Those are two different things.
Potato. But
look, I'm a guy whose favorite Dungeon World class is Fighter, so my opinions are invalid.
Yeah,
okay?
no, dude, Fighter's Pog. but no, I definitely agree with what you're saying with Mask's design in that way. It is held up as sort of the pinnacle of PBTA, but like I do think there's a lot of flaws with it in that. And also to what you were saying, if you're, and like, you know, many people were saying like, oh, Dungeon World isn't the best bridge between PBTA and D&D, but then if you take someone who has only played 5e and you put them into Masks, you run into the exact problem that you just described, where they're like, well, I guess I deal damage, because they don't know anything else that they can do, which I know I'm treating these people like children, but like, you know what I'm saying. I'm speaking from
I know exactly what you mean, and I've been there. I've done this.
Yeah. Like, I think we all have, where, you know, you're like, well, I guess I directly engage the threat. Okay, cool, bang, boom, bing, bop, boom, 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 bop, bam. The type of shit I'm on you wouldn't understand. And then, like, as the GM, you're like, well, fuck, what do? I guess I hit them back. And then you just go back into the slugfest, and you're playing like 5e all you know, again.
And so, like, in Masks, you actively need to be thinking about how the powers shape the scene, and you need to actively put that in. And if the players are not taking the lead in affecting the fiction, the GM then needs to work overtime to make sure the situation changes, which I think is just kind of a weakness of any PBTA game's combat.
I agree.
And I didn't kind of realize that till now, but now that I've said it, it's kind of like, I don't feel like there's a way around it. I think that's an inherent limitation of the engine, is that the GM needs to do this workload
a lot of
in order to make things flow.
Yep,
yeah,
100%. I couldn't agree more. I definitely think that has always been sort of a flaw with the game design philosophy, is what you're saying, like the load is really put on the GM's shoulders. Like, it's a significant load that's put on the GM's shoulders to do exactly what you just explained, of like they constantly have to be throwing in new story beats, new everything. There's no, and that, I think that was the problem with, one of the problems that one of my good friends that I ran Dungeon World for had, is he's like, it's kind of exhausting to always come up with new storytelling twists or whatever after every roll. Like, I wish it was like 5e, where I could just roll my fucking dice, deal my damage, and then, you know, we're chilling. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like other games, like, I'm just gonna put a Pathfinder monster in the chat so that we can like talk about how other games handle this.
Yeah, sure.
Because like Pathfinder would fall into a similar trap of, oh, things just happen at the same time every turn.
Right.
They then have creature abilities and have player abilities that you then want to set up and then utilize.
Right.
So this is the crunchy way of handling this.
Yes.
And so then the workload for the GM and the players is tracking the things and doing the basically counting of the game.
Right.
But then you have creatures like this, which lets them conjure a disguise that then lets them look exactly like human. But if you catch them off guard, the disguise looks wrong.
Yeah.
Ever so slightly. And they can explode out of the disguise with bludgeoning damage that can also dazzle you as bits of flesh and fabric are covering your eyes.
That's pretty fucking gnarly. But because that's hard-coded into the system, the GM doesn't have to come up with that, like, on the spot.
Exactly. Yes.
Indeed.
And so, like, crunchy games, they tend to put a lot of that work into the designer's hand, and if you're making your own monster, you're then the designer for that monster.
The difficulty of that comes from. I love how we're just like hemorrhaging viewers. The difficulty of that though then becomes it. You have to memorize all that shit, or you have to like flip to it, which is like I guess it's less mental load, but I feel like it breaks sort of the flow and immersion. Also, Dungeon Slime said, I think when it comes to PBTA, the idea is how can you resolve the combat scene in as few moves as possible, and I think that's definitely the correct way to look at it. I don't think you want a combat to be just dragging on endlessly and just, you know, being a slugfest. Like, you want it to be quick. You want all the dramatic moments. And I think that's, like, the beauty in the system, and I think that's what needs to be dialed into GM's heads is, like, okay, you go into combat, like, we only need to see, like, the significant moments. We don't need to see blow by blow, like, all right, I swing my sword, blah, 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 blah. It's like, okay, you are engaged in a ferocious duel to the death with the engineer, and like, you know, he goes to try and wrestle your sword away from you, like, what do you do or whatever at like significant, you know, impactful moments.
And I agree with Tub's point of in as few moves as possible, but still satisfying for everyone.
100%.
Because like in a crunchy game, part of the joy is in doing the gradual advantages and then having that naturally make stuff matter.
Right.
And like your decisions that you're making tactically then come back to matter. But a PBTA game should not feel like, okay, so I'm going to set up the snagging strike to then follow up with my combat grab so I can then do my suplex. That shouldn't be what a PBTA wrestler feels like. It should be, I'm trying to grab and slam into the suplex. What do I need to roll to do that?
Exactly.
And the GM simplifies that to one roll.
And just being like seamless and smooth in that way, so that you still get that, you know, nice, pleasant payoff without, like, you know, you're saying, just like dragging it down in like minutia.
Where in the crunchy game, the joy comes in, okay, my plan was disrupted. How do I get back into that line? And so I'd compare it from like Tournament Magic to Commander, where in Commander, everybody's kind of like casual and they're like more into the, I want to do my thing. I want to tell my story.
Right.
And in 1v1 Magic, you're trying to lock the other guy out of the game as hard as you can.
Right.
You're like, actually.
Now there is so I'm trying to start a movement here, man. Because I feel like crunchy and narrative are bad terms to refer to, like, you know, what we're talking about. But before I get into that, I'll just read some chat comments. Travis J says, it reminds me of the first Forge in the Dark game that I ran. I couldn't think of a good consequence on a 4 to 5, so I kept starting new clocks. Yeah, I haven't actually played any Forge in the Dark system yet, which is a travesty on my part because I heard it's fan-fucking-tastic, and I need to get on it. But yeah, 100%. Removing HP is an attempt to deliver that. Yes and no. I mean, I get it. I would still prefer if HP was there because I think it's familiar and it lets you, as Andrew said in his comment on my video, or as what I forget who it was. It's a countdown timer of like Hitchcock's bomb going off.
Yeah.
And you know, it builds tension, I think. Rather than tracking every hit, only the impactful ones matter. I also get that. That also totally makes sense. And that makes sense more for like what we're talking about. And interesting, but going back to the narrative versus crunchy thing. So I said it in my video that I really want to like start a movement, man, because I feel like Pathfinder is like a crunchy game, right? We can agree on that.
I do not disagree.
100%. It's a crunchy game, but it still has a story. So you're still telling a story. You're just telling the story through math and mathematical principles. Whereas a game like Dungeon World, for example, just because that's what we're talking about, it is more based on Englishy storytelling tropes to tell your story. So I call it an English game versus a math game because you're using things you learned in English class or literature class or whatever versus things you learned in math class to tell your story. That's kind of my hill.
I think you're cooking. Yeah. No, I think you're cooking.
And so, because sorry, I totally cut you off, but let me just
so I can talk about mathy games versus Englishy games and both sound boring.
Yeah, no.
So I'm totally willing to agree on this. So I'll shake on that.
So because when I said it earlier in the stream, I was really struggling to get into Grimwild, and I think Grimwild is an Englishy crunchy game because there are so many elements of the storytelling that like especially the GM is supposed to remember. I remember I was like reading through the system. I was like, how the fuck am I ever gonna like run this? Because there's so much shit that I have to remember, and the difference between that and like a mathy sort of crunch game or whatever, like Pathfinder. Like Pathfinder, I don't remember the math. I flip to the thing, I find it, whatever. There's a disruption in play, but like ultimately you can go rulings not rules and just make a ruling on the fly and then look it up later to do it correctly, and it doesn't hurt anything. But with a game like Grimwild, my impression of it after reading it is if you don't get it right, you're playing the game wrong. And so you have to know it, and if you don't, like, you're fucked. And I don't like that. Anyway, what were you going to say?
No, I mean, I basically agree with what you're saying. And I think that for me, like, all my things about you saying Pathfinder stuff, it's like, well, but it's hyperlinked in Archives of Nethys.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure how long of a flip it's going to be, but it is definitely a pause and play for, wait, how does that mechanic work again?
Right. Which can take you out of the sauce. But like you're saying, it's a quick resolution, and you can often just make a ruling on it in the moment and then come back to it to figure out the real thing. Whereas like with once again, I'm shitting on Grimwild, but like with Grimwild, it's just like, wait a minute, I forgot. Am I supposed to? Oh god, what is the like? You know, if you want to advance the next scene, or whatever, like, what's the narrative rule that I'm totally blanking? I want to do this right, and like theoretically, you could make a ruling on it, but then you're playing the game wrong, which I guess is technically true with Pathfinder. But I feel like it has more weight with like an Englishy literature type game than like a mathy game.
Englishy games, like a mathy game that is well designed, can handle a lot of abuse.
Yeah.
Before the engine starts to break down, an Englishy game starts to break down from a single preposition.
Yeah, 100%.
It's so much easier to have an Englishy game collapse in on itself and turn to a black hole than a crunchy game, which only collapses into a black hole if you're ignoring fundamental principles.
Right. Which theoretically, and Vincent Baker, who designed the Apocalypse in which all games are powered by, says that a core component of Powered by the Apocalypse is the ability for it to collapse in on itself, and as long as you remember those base things of like D6 or whatever, like you're fine. Which is why I think it works fine with like Dungeon World, for example. Even Masks, like as long as you remember the core elements, you're going to be okay. But with something like Grimwild, I guess theoretically, as long as you remember the 2d8s or whatever the resolution mechanic is, like you're okay. But I don't know. There's just something there that it just doesn't. It doesn't gel.
Yeah.
Dice Slime says the fighter pilot buddy distracts the enemy ace, and then the hero pilot lands, flies through the enemy ship, and destroys generator. That's fucking cool. Oh, wait, no, sorry. I should have read the first thing. I think Fate has a fun way of building a fight. I often use the final battle in any Macross, where the idol sings the song, paralyzing the enemy. The battleship transforms and fires a gravity cannon. Maybe I've been streaming too long. I have no idea what that means. Andrew says, I remember making my war cleric for Ron's game and chat losing their mind because I was making it wrong. Any comments, Sean?
No, Premaster War Priest was a design mistake in how hard it is to build. I have a ton of sympathy, and also Pathfinder players that are in stream chats tend to not be the most like forgiving.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest. Like that's just kind of how it is when you have the most engaged part of the community.
Right. No,
and it's just like, oh no, you're not gonna have the best possible experience. It's like, guys, it's fine.
Yeah, like it doesn't matter.
And that was before people really like stopped and thought about like how busted Cleric is as a class chassis. Like Cleric is disgusting, and post remaster people are like, oh well, now that it's free, it's disgusting. No, it always was. It's just more now. Like, come on, guys, come on. And I'm allowed to make fun of Pathfinder players. Because, like, I'll make fun of them toe-to-toe in their domain, because guess what? I'm the king.
Yeah, he is the king.
I am the one who writes the guides. I am the I'm actually king. Ron came to me with his video about complex rules to make sure he didn't make rules errors.
Yeah.
Like, that's where we are. Like, I know my stuff when it comes to Pathfinder.
Humble Gallipot says, in my experience, is the opposite, but English can adapt to the fiction quickly. Yes, I agree. I think the tricky thing is, and maybe this is me just being terminally online, but I feel like when you forget those principles, and once again, maybe it's just kind of the case of like what Swingerup was saying of like Pathfinder players shitting on you if you make the wrong build. I feel like super diehard like PBTA people are super quick to say that you're playing the game wrong because you're telling the story wrong because you're not following like the GM moves or whatever. And, you know, maybe it's just being sensitive to people on the internet or whatever. But, yeah, I mean, because I've, like I said in my our DMs cheating in Dungeon World video, like, I've never fucking used DM moves. But then, of course, someone in the comments is like, you're playing the game wrong. And it's like, you know what? Everyone's having fun. Who fucking cares? Yeah. So, I mean, you can definitely fly by the seat of your pants in them. And I think a well-designed PBTA game, or, you know, I'm sure Forged in the Dark is the same way, has the ability to collapse in on itself like that, where you're still running a good game. You're still, you know, you're not doing anything wrong. Yeah. But, yeah. All right. Any final words, Jonathan?
I'd say that my final words is Pathfinder is actually cool because, yeah, come on, guys, it's not that hard. Just like, you know, it's a few tables to make an encounter.
All right, so we're never putting that guy on ever again. Anyways, fellas, this stream went on a little bit longer than I intended, but you know what? I had a great time. I hope you guys did too. Let's do it again sometime, shall we? Keep it up. Any final things before I skedaddle? Because my brain is fucking fried. I don't think so. Sean, thank you for coming on and discussing some things with me. Maybe we'll get a little talk showy in the future. Who knows? Have all sorts of guests on. The future's bright. Who knows? I'm going to stop now. My brain is so tired. Once again, thank you guys so much